ESPN's exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series goes prime time tonight. It's the Degree V12 300 from the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. After 17 years of daytime races at this track for the Nationwide Series, a first tonight, a primetime race under the lights. An already fast track, even faster as the temperatures cool, the cars get more grip and the engines make more horsepower. Time to go trackside for the opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard from Forest Park High School in Forest Park, Georgia, presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Tim Dowdy, senior pastor from Eagles Landing First Baptist Church in McDonough, Georgia, delivers tonight's invocation.
Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for your love for us, and we thank you for the way that love was pictured in Jesus Christ when he died on the cross and paid our sin debt. And we thank you for those brave young men and women who serve around the world defending our freedom that we enjoy every single day. We pray tonight that you'd watch over the drivers of these cars and their families. We pray that you would bless them with your grace and your mercy. We pray that you'd bless the fans that are here tonight and show them your love and your mercy in their life as well. God, may you be honored by all that we do and say tonight. We give you praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nashville Lyric Street recording artist Shadazy as they perform our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave, brave.
The Bayou Militia with the flyover after a wonderful rendition of the national anthem. And for those of you who've been watching Georgia and Oklahoma State, we welcome you to the NASCAR Nationwide Series from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Big story of the night, Carl Edwards, chasing the championship, second in points, broke his right foot in a Frisbee game, playing with some friends at home on Wednesday. How it will affect his race here is the question, especially after the ground he's gained in the championship the last 2 weeks. As Carl gets himself situated and comfortable as best he can, we get set to go racing for 300 miles in Atlanta.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Degree V12 300 at Atlanta Motor Speedway is brought to you by New Degree Men V12 Special Edition, Nationwide Insurance, official auto insurance partner of NASCAR, and Kingsford Charcoal. For a chance to win the ultimate grilling experience of the big game, go to espn.com/Kingsford.
And for those of you who've been watching Countdown on ESPN Classic, the race coverage moves to ESPN2. Grab that remote, flip on over there. The engines start next.
On three. 1, 2, 3. Win! Go. 1, 2, 3. Win!
Everybody wants to win tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway as the NASCAR Nationwide Series gets ready to go 300 miles. Teams getting ready while the drivers get buckled in. And now it's time to bring in our team of champions who will lead our backseat drivers coverage tonight. Champion drivers Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace with champion crew chiefs Andy Petrie and Ray Evernham all together in the booth. Gentlemen, it's the first time for the Nationwide Series to run a night race here. What's that mean for the driver, car, and crew? DJ, what do you think?
Well, as a driver, I'm hoping it means some more grip because this is a worn-out racing surface. You're looking for anything that's going to allow you to feel better about your race car, go faster through the corner. So I'm hoping it's going to do that. The one concern that I have as the sun goes down even more, this track cools off, is my car going to bottom out a little bit because this is a very rough racetrack too. So not only am I looking for grip, but how's that going to affect the handling of my car?
And really the only good grip the drivers are going to have all night long is going to be with new tires. And the tires go away so fast here at Atlanta that that's only going to last for about 5 laps. And after that, all bets are off. You just got to get out there and slide that car, and whoever slides the best usually is the guy that winds up winning.
And Andy, as Cup crew chief, we were used to whenever the caution come out, we just come down and put some new tires on. Here, these guys are limited on tires, so they're going to have to play the strategy right to see if they've got tires left when that final caution comes out.
Well, I tell you guys, my big concern right now is the beginning of this race, the first segment I call it. They had all the practice this morning. Now they're going to race tonight. There's a lot of loose race cars out there. Guys are concerned. My big deal, get through that first segment, because if you don't, you could get lapped, you could get wrecked, buddy, you could have big problems.
We've got one more member of our championship team, Tim Brewer, down in the Craftsman Tech Garage. What are your concerns there, Brewer?
I tell you what, DJ, I want to get the car off pit road. And what we're going to do that, is we're going to need this Roush roller, because these guys, every time we come down here, they seem to beat the fenders in. So we're going to use this Roush roller. Unless you're Rusty Wallace, then he's going to get this ball bat and do the same thing. Then he's going to find that guy caved in the fender in. After the race, he's going to probably use that ball bat on him.
A little old school there for Rusty, both before, during, and after the race. All right, so the drivers getting set to go. And again, big focus of the night will be Carl Edwards. The broken right foot after the win in Montreal and all the ground he's gained in the championship on Kyle Busch in the last couple of races. Will Carl be able to keep that gas pedal matted to the floor around this big, fast racetrack? Dale Jr. leading the field to the green flag from pole position. And yes, I will mention this. There is some weather on the radar. 0% chance of showers in the forecast this morning. But there's some of that green on the radar. We'll keep an eye on it. Trackside, time for the command to get the night started.
Race fans, please welcome back Crystal Beal and her kids, Christopher and Callie of McDonough, Georgia, as they deliver the most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
I got you up here, bud.
I got you, Lauren. Left there.
Fired up whenever you are ready.
Loud clear, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, Tim doesn't have his radio on yet. I see him over there.
Crystal Beal and her family, the survivors of a member of our military, John Beal, who was killed in action in Afghanistan serving our country recently. They the grand marshals for tonight's race. Now, 10 races to go in the NASCAR Nationwide Series season. And while Kyle Busch looked to be running away with the championship a month ago, Carl Edwards and Brad Keselowski have gained some ground on him in these last 6 weeks. You see the last 6 races, Kyle has been shut out of victory lane, while Edwards and Keselowski have scored a couple of wins apiece. It's been 7 races since Kyle Busch has taken a victory in the Nationwide Series. Let's set the stage for those 3 drivers' nights to pit road and Vince Welch.
Well, Alan, Kyle Busch has seen his championship lead shrink by 147 points over the last 2 weeks. So he's looking over his shoulder, right? No, not a chance. This team has not reached for the panic button, and don't count on them doing so. They've had good cars at both Bristol and Montreal, but got caught up in contact with others. This is a championship caliber team. It puts good cars on the track every week and has one of the best drivers. With a 192-point lead, those others in the hunt need the 18 to have the kind of bad luck it's had the last 2 weeks. Shannon?
Well, Vince, according to Carl Edwards, the good news about his foot injury is that being in the race car is actually the easiest part about dealing with that injury. The bad news is he says that racing these nationwide cars are a lot more difficult than the Cup cars. Now, the team has taken every measure to make him more comfortable. They've adjusted the height and the distance of the throttle. They've also adjusted the throttle return, and they have teammate Matt Kenseth on standby just in case Edwards needs to be replaced. Now, I have not one more piece of bad news for Carl Edwards fans. If Edwards does go to victory victory lane, don't expect his signature backflip. In fact, Carl Edwards said it could be 6 to 8 months before he flips again. Jamie?
Well, one man that's chasing Carl Edwards is Brad Keselowski. He sits third in the points right now, but over the last 6 races, he has made a surge on Carl and Kyle. He's had more top 5s, led more laps, and he's gained more points than those guys combined. Hey, a couple months ago, a lot of people would have counted this guy out for the championship, but despite all the hoopla surrounding Brad Keselowski and what he's doing next year with Penske, he's kept his eye on the ball. He's focused on getting his first ever championship, and perhaps tonight he'll get his 4th win of the season. Alan?
Okay, Jamie, thanks. And as always, a variety of high-definition cameras on board these race cars tonight to help us enjoy the action. Got some who are, we'll call it starting position challenged, like Justin Allgaier, Jason Leffler, and Mike Wallace coming from the back, while some others in the top 10, including Reed Sorensen, Kevin Harvick, and Trevor Bayne. And our in-race reporter, top center square, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is carrying one of those cameras. Time to hear from him, DJ.
All right, Dale Jr., Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Sir.
Hey, Junior, we're going to straight to the mailbag, and Julie from Boca Raton, Florida asks, you like to run the high line at most tracks. Do you think it will be the preferred line in the nationwide cars tonight?
Well, I don't know if that's going to win the race. I think it'll be okay to run on the long tire runs, but late in the race, you're probably going to want to be on the bottom as it cools down and grips up a little bit down there. That's where guys are going to probably be running. And you might have to go to the outside rear quarter panel to pass them, maybe in the middle or somewhere, but I don't know if you'll win the race on the wall tonight.
Junior, I know you're a professional race car driver, but you don't run this series much anymore. How big of an adjustment is it for you to get out in these cars and get the feel of the car that you need?
Well, these cars are real fun to drive. At least the Degree V12 Chevrolet is pretty fun to drive today. So I enjoy it, and anytime I can get in these cars, it's always fun. You know, they're kind of underpowered, they have a lot of grip, got a lot of downforce, so that makes for a pretty fun driving car.
All right, man, keep that thing up front, and we'll talk to you later on. Have a great race, and Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Brian Campy.
Hey, Brian, Andy Peter up in the booth. You got us?
10-4, Andy.
Hey, Brian, calling a nationwide series race is much different than calling a Sprint Cup race. Tell us what the challenges are for doing that tonight.
Not only we got to worry about our fuel mileage and make sure we can make it to the end on fuel, we also got to manage our tires. NASCAR provides us with 6 sets. You got to use one of those in practice. You got to make sure you don't practice too much on one set and dial your chassis out. And then in the race, you got to make sure that you're putting tires on at the right time, so you got to set at the end if you need it.
Okay, well, hopefully you've done everything right tonight, and then Junior winds up in victory lane, so good luck tonight, Brian.
Thank you, Andy.
So, Junior and the other drivers heading out onto the track for the parade and pace laps. When we come back, the green flag for the Nationwide Series in Atlanta. We are 1.5 pace laps from the green flag for tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race in Atlanta. You see the starting lineup coming across the top of your screen, and take a look and check out where your favorite driver is starting. Some final stories from pit road before we get going. Dave Burns, what you got?
Well, you know, Alan, this night race at Atlanta feels just a little bit different. And in fact, one driver told me, I feel like I've never been here before. Think of the conditions they were in the last time they raced here, March of 2008. It snowed out qualifying, quite a bit colder, and that was a whole year and a half ago. So what should we expect? How about the unexpected? We haven't been here in a year and a half either for these guys in Nationwide, and I think tonight is going to present lots of surprises.
Okay, Dave, thanks. Jeff Burton had a little hiccup before he left pit road for the pace laps. Apparently a radio problem in the 29 car, but it has since been fixed, and he's been allowed by NASCAR to assume his place on the grid again, starting in 15th position. So you look at the list of starters, and again, a reminder of a couple things. First time these drivers will compete in racing conditions under the lights here. All the practice and qualifying during daytime conditions, and for that matter, all the previous 17 Nationwide Series races here have been done in daytime conditions. A lot of questions for the pit crews and the crew chiefs. And speaking of pit crews, our over-the-wall reporter tonight is the jackman for that driver, Jason Keller's 27 car, John Reese of Owensboro, Kentucky. He'll give us a look at his working conditions for the night. Good luck, John. Have a safe night. And one lap to go before the restart. So let's check out the quick set smart keys to the race. Mr. Petrie, what are you thinking?
Well, this is all the things we've been talking about getting this race started. Tire wear, you got to be careful on pit road because you will definitely bend the fender down on the end of this pit road. And that late caution strategy, Ray, we talked about it in the pre-race.
It is, Andy. I don't know. You got to gamble. Do you bet on okay, I'm going to save a set of tires, or do you use them to keep going? Because you don't know if that caution is going to come out with 10 to go. And if it comes out with 10 to go, man, and you got new tires, you're going to be Superman.
Yeah, you talk about that tire wear. A driver can do a lot with that. If you keep this car on the bottom a lot, you have to put more wheel into it. It's going to wear the tires a lot more than running up around the top.
Yeah, I want to hit on something Andy just said, though, about bended fenders coming out pit road. For whatever reason, here at this racetrack at Atlanta, as you come down, it's a long pit road, but that baby's narrow. And as you make a pit stop, you come out, and notoriously, every race, we see guys tearing fenders up on pit road, and they got to avoid that.
Saw Trevor Bain there. Man, what a great job that young man does getting these cars qualified every time. He knows how to go fast almost everywhere that we go.
I'll tell you what, he runs great. I mean, this Toyota he's been driving, he's got this thing hooked up. It's out of the Michael Waltrip camp. They're having a good time with it. And I think we're going to see Trevor a lot more, Dale. I really do. I mean, this guy's week in and week out, he's been good behind the wheel.
Yeah, I talked to Michael yesterday at a Coca-Cola deal that we were doing, and he was really excited about what he's seen so far, and they hope to do a lot more as we get ready to go green flag racing.
Guys, I'm going to be watching that Frito Bandito in that 10 car in practice. He was 2 inches off the wall. I'm going to see how quick he gets up there and goes.
Won't be long. Here they go. Caution car is off. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to lead him to the green flag.
This may give us some idea as we get started here as to what line these guys will take, or the leader will choose inside or outside for future restarts.
Oh, absolutely. This is something I'd be looking at too, Dale. But one thing everybody needs to remember right now, these guys practiced this morning. It was real cool. It's getting dark right now, and this racetrack is definitely going to change.
See Harvick able to get a little bit of an advantage off of turn 2. Take the lead as they go into turn 3.
Hey, look at this run. Junior gets on the bottom. He's talking about that grip. These tires have a lot of grip the first 5 laps.
You guys, look at that 10 car coming up on the outside. I don't know. He's going to spend most of his time at the top based on practice.
What did you call him?
The Frito Bandito.
You know, this morning's practice, guys, I was watching these guys run, and they were already at the top of the racetrack. Take a look at Kevin Harvick right there throwing sparks out. Air pressures are low. That's going to spark for this a little bit longer.
Well, we just saw Casey get a little bit loose there. I mean, when you move it up to the top, it gets less loose, right? And
yeah, but he was coming to the front. Now look at Gilliland making the move on the apron, getting into 3 underneath Reed Sorensen.
There's Carl Edwards just trying this out. He's practiced all day, but he hasn't been in race-type situations with that broken foot, as you see David Reagan go by him on the outside.
I'll tell you, Dale, the thing I'm concerned about for Carl is that can he keep this up all night long? And if this car gets real loose, can he manipulate that throttle? Because you know as a driver, man, you got to be back in and out of the gas pedal to hold on to these things. You drive the car with the gas a lot.
And guys, having a broken foot, that broken bone, it's got to be like having a toothache. That vibration and stuff that's in that car coming right through the throttle, and you're on throttle so much here. I mean, it's got to be a distraction.
Yeah, and Andy, we talked about it. Yeah, I'm not sure that tonight's going to be as big a problem as when he wakes up tomorrow and knows he has to go 500 miles again tomorrow.
Well, that's why I question actually him running this race tonight, because the chase is the most important thing, and that's coming up here in just a couple of races. If he would happen to smack that wall or even a minor wreck here with a broken foot, I mean, it could get injured to a point where he might not even be competitive in the chase or have to miss a race in the chase. Shannon?
Yeah, guys, I spoke with Carl Edwards right before he climbed into the car, and he told me these first couple laps are just going to be a feel-it-out type situation. He said, don't be surprised if I even fall back a little bit. He said, I've got to get a feel for this car in race conditions and see what I can do with my foot, how far I can push it.
All right, our first start and park guy is the Michael McDowell in the 96 car. He's taking it to the garage as we continue to watch Carl Edwards here. See David Reagan on that high side.
Take a look at Joey Logano. We haven't seen him in a while,
top
you know.
Pretty high in,
he is definitely on the bottom,
already.
Getting it on pretty good. A good run he's having on the bottom of the racetrack.
That's going to be where I think for the first 15 laps with these, we heard Junior didn't talk about that, but that's going to be the place to really go down on the bottom and be able to make up some spots. It's the shortest way around, and you have that grip. See Harvick's car still bottoming out there.
Yeah, we got the race for the lead heating up. Harvick's on the inside.
And, man, he's got a big run on the bottom of that racetrack. We talk about these cars all the time, Dale, on the top of the track with so much momentum because they're way low on horsepower compared to a Cup car. They got to keep these babies wound up. But the short way is around the bottom.
You see Kyle Busch. Look at that huge run he's getting off turn 4 right there underneath Casey Kane.
And Harvick told us in the pre-race that this car was set up a lot like the truck was for Hornaday back here in March.
Yeah, I heard that, and I wondered what that was, but it's working for Kevin Harvick. He was the fastest in happy hour. Now here he takes the lead early, and the only thing he said is the conditions are going to be different tonight. He doesn't know if it's going to work as well as it did in happy hour.
I should tell you, you talk about Ron Hornaday, what he win, 5 or 6 in a row. I think I'd be looking at that truck program.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I tell you, Kevin Harvick's got that thing put together. I mean, that baby is running.
Yeah, he needs to be checking that rearview mirror, though. He's got Kyle Busch coming. You see that 18 there, start-finish line.
Well, Kyle Busch doesn't like whenever you're talking about a racetrack that he hasn't won at in this series. He's won in a truck, and he's won in the Cup Series, but he hasn't won in this Nationwide. Looks like he's trying to take care of that.
Kevin Harvick in the 33, leading the Degree V12 300 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Early on, just 12 of the 195 laps are complete, while Harvick leads. 6 drivers have taken their cars to the garage and done for the day. Mark Green is out of this race. Also, the 47 car of Chase Miller done for the day. The 49 of Mark Green is done. I mentioned him already. Kevin LePage, Johnny Chapman, Dave Blaney, Michael McDowell all out. If you're new to NASCAR, start and park. Guys without sponsorship that are just trying to start, run a couple laps and park and take home the prize money to keep the doors open and keep the lights on in their operation. Big lead now for Kevin Harvick. He's opened up a 2nd and 2/10 on Kyle Busch. You see Brian Vickers running the high side of the racetrack as we swing it upstairs to our backseat drivers. That's a little rim riding there, boys, huh?
Yeah, he's almost in another county at times. It seems like he is right against the wall, but he's making a lot of time. Vickers has got that car up into the 5th spot.
You can see the shadow of the car up against the wall. I mean, he is right there.
He's just another driver, guys. Week in and week out in the Cup Series, we watch him rim riding that baby right up against the wall, lap after lap, and that's just where he's comfortable. But I want to go back to the engine horsepower in these cars. These cars really need to keep wound up. They need that momentum because they're so down on power, and a lot of drivers can do a good job of that. Case in point, Brian Vickers. Jamie?
Well, he's already gained 8 positions, and, you know, it's really interesting. You remember back, Rusty, we were all watching the way that Brian Vickers drove this race car so extremely loose. Well, he does the same thing here. He actually turns the wheel to the right, going through the corner where the back end is getting loose, but he likes it. He thinks it's funny. His crew chief, Trent Owens, doesn't think it's too funny. Imagine they're sweating it out right now.
Tell you what, they're probably, running the car sideways and having to steer back to the right, Dale. I mean, some drivers are pretty good, buddy. I was never that good.
No, I always liked that tug on the wheel to the left. And Ray, I think Jeff Gordon probably is a little bit like that too.
Yeah, what you guys just called leading the right front. You can see, I know that that Brian Vickers is running good lap times and he's coming forward, but that guy that is setting the pace and has been since we've been here practicing, Kevin Harvick, is still running that thing down on the bottom line, just like Dale Jr. said that they were going to be doing.
Yeah, but will Brian Vickers' tires last a little bit longer doing that? He's talking about turning back to the right, so he's obviously not having a lot of scrub on those tires, the right front. Kevin Harvick's having to turn his car quite a bit down the bottom. So as we run on in this first run, it'll be interesting to see if that does take its toll. As we see Jeff Burton really get loose.
Check out Burton. He just got just a little too low there on the apron, caught a piece of the apron, and got that 29 car loose. Vince?
That's right, and not only is he having a loose race car to put his hands around, he's also having radio problems. As you guys documented right off the start, he was late getting out into onto the track surface because of a radio issue. The team cannot hear him. He can hear the team, but the team cannot hear him. I'm told they're using hand signals, and I can only imagine what those might be at these speeds.
And guys, that is a big distraction. Any distraction, when you don't have a radio that you can communicate back and forth with the crew, you can't fix the car, but it gets the driver thinking about things other than what he's supposed to be thinking about.
Yeah, we saw that at Bristol with Tony Stewart. He had a radio problem and actually just couldn't run at all. I mean, it looked like the car was just out to lunch. They finally got the radio fixed, and all of a sudden the car was faster.
See Brendan Gaughan here running up against the wall, but we think that he might have got a little bit closer than just running right next to it. Let's go to our replay and see this.
Well, it goes in. Looks like he got a little bit loose getting in there, Rusty.
Got a coat of white paint on the right side now.
Well, if that's all we got on that car, we're okay right now. As long as we don't have the fenders all bent up and stuff like that. But you can see Brendan got into turn 1, and that car jumped out from underneath him, and he chased it up the racetrack.
That's the only thing that I've got about this high line. I love to watch guys do it, and some of them, like Brian Vickers, they do it so well. And Brendan Gaughan's one of them, too, that runs well up there. But there's just so little room for error that if you have a little problem with the car and you got to chase it, there's nowhere to chase it. But you have to, touch the wall like we saw Brendan.
As we're watching Kevin Harvick right here. Exactly right, Andy. I mean, that's one thing I was always nervous about, running up against the wall. What if I make one mistake? I mean, I got to run every single corner, lap after lap. If one time I get distracted, I mess up and I hit that wall, dude, my day's over.
And guys, they started moving along really quick. You know, the lap times were way down in the 32s, high 31s, and now they've dropped off about a second and a half now. If you look at, there's Kevin Harvick in lap 5 was 173 to 169, now to 168 at lap 19. I don't about probably another half second or more.
It's going to get worse before it gets better. I can promise you that. They'll be wanting new tires after they run that gas tank dry.
I can promise you one thing. These guys are really hoping for a caution right now. We're at lap 20. Remember, they practiced this morning. They haven't raced at night. A lot of guys complained about loose cars. In fact, even some cording. As we're watching Dale Jr. go around Logano right there. We saw some cording out there in the right rear tire wearing out.
See Logano here, he's utilizing that bottom groove. Dale Jr. has now moved his car up to the top as Logano is able to take that spot away from him and move into the top 5.
Yeah, we heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. say that he felt like he had to have his car working on the bottom of the racetrack to win. But I knew when he was saying that we were going to see him run this groove right here most of the night when he said it.
I always felt like as a driver, and Rusty, maybe you can concur, if I got my car working on the bottom and I had to move to the middle or the top, I could do that. But if you go out there and set your car up for the top, it always made it more difficult to try to go down to the bottom and race there.
No, I totally agree with you. One thing about this particular track is the big bump going into turn 1. A lot of guys can't run through that bump. If you get your car where you can run through the bump, buddy, you can run the top 2.
Well, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s had a little bit of help down there in the garage area today and getting this car up to speed. Dave?
And he sure has. A guy who knows all that stuff you're talking about where Junior's concerned, Highline, etc., is Tony Uri Jr. Now, normally he works R&D for Hendrick Motorsports, but he was asked to come over this week just to help his team run as good as it could. Remember, Junior, his cousin, was his crew chief for so many years in the Sprint Cup Series. The jokes have flowed freely. They've had a lot of fun, but they've also gotten this car very fast, and they're calling Tony Uri Jr. this weekend the intern. Yep, they're calling it an internship, and so far, he's made his keep.
Yeah, I think he earned his keep a long time ago. He's a great crew chief and just kind of got caught up in a bad situation at a time when they weren't running that well on the Cup side, and they made a crew chief change on the Dale Earnhardt Jr. car, but he's making a big difference on this 5 car.
Yeah, that's pretty experienced and high-priced intern, if you ask me. I don't know.
First caution here in Atlanta tonight. Brendan Gaughan taking his car to the garage. We'll show you what happened in just a moment. First, will all of the leaders come to pit road? It looks that way. Kevin Harvick going to lead the charge down onto the pit lane. This will be 27 laps into this race, the first stop for these teams. Vince?
Well, the one car of Reed Sorensen has been complaining, like many of these drivers, that the car is just wicked loose. He said, we definitely got to have some side bite. They're going to put 4 fresh tires on it, make air pressure adjustments in Sunoco fuel, and pull some tape off the front. Jamie?
And Kevin Harvick said he hit a rotor. He asked the team to check the nose that it may have a hole in it. 4 tires and a small air pressure adjustment for the 33. Shannon?
Jamie, Joey Logano says the car gets looser as he goes on the run. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, 4 tires and fuel for Joey Logano. Dave?
Kyle Busch, bottom of your screen, needed 4 tires with an air pressure adjustment. His comments, I need grip, I need the front to turn, I need the rear to grip a whole lot better. He'll pick up a spot, and boys, that is first place.
And Kyle Busch, all of them get 4 tires, but Kyle Busch had a great pit stop there.
Yeah, Jeff Burton's crew doing a nice job getting him 4 spots up to 6th.
That's just what these guys needed. Yeah, good run right there. I mean, there were 27 laps in this thing. That got a good amount of running right there to figure out what they need to do to their car. Do we need to change air pressures? Do we need to drop the track bar for handling? Do we move the wedge around? They had a lot of choices, and that was a good run to have.
Now we're looking at what caused our caution was car 62, and it looked like this is a little bit earlier. It looked like he got a little loose getting in there, got up, rubbed the wall right there with his right side, and you see probably did some body damage to that thing, got the tires rubbing on the fender. Then just after that, moments ago, looked like going down in the corner, right front tire might have been rubbing a little bit.
Yeah, it's never good.
In front of you. Get to the bottom.
You get against that wall and you try to stay out there. You don't want to come in and lose a lap, but man, sometimes it's just better to bite the bullet, make a green flag pit stop, and try to fix the thing. But this is what happens.
Yeah, and you get so much load here with the banking in the corners and the speeds that you're carrying with the downforce that you have that just not much room for error there as far as getting a rub on that right front after you've made contact with the wall.
See Brian Vickers now back in the pit.
Must be having a problem there. You can see they're taking the
quarter window out there. Don't know what they're working on there. That's where the oil tank cover lid is.
Got a piece of tape there. Well, the oil tank cover lid, you know, sometimes they come off.
Yeah.
And they make the car
we've
go a
seen
little
that
fast. They
before.
might have, you know.
We've also had some other type contact here. Justin Allgaier came into his pits and
got into his tire carrier. You see the 16 car up there, they're having trouble getting to their pit, into their positions on their pit stop.
Against 4 tires in the box, guys.
It's just one of those things, again, with rookie.
Yeah, it is, and it's things that as a driver that you have to pay attention, and it's your responsibility as a driver, to get in there as quick as you possibly can. You can see Greg Biffle's guys telling him to use his head a little bit there.
And one thing he's got to do right now is kind of shake it off, though. I mean, this can really upset a driver here.
Dale Jr., ESPN, you have a copy?
Yes, sir.
How was your car in that first run?
First 3 laps, it was great. Then I picked up a pretty good push and tried to hook the apron and couldn't get that to work too good. Moved up a little bit, tried a lot of different things, couldn't get the tightness out of it. So we made a lot of air pressure adjustments right there, trying to see what we can make happen here. We struggled a little bit on that pit stop too, lost a lot of spots, but we'll see if we can't get it back and get this thing turning a little bit. We'll be all right.
All right, thanks for the explanation, man. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, I want to go back to Justin Allgaier's problem just a little bit, guys. I mean, as a driver comes down there, made a little rookie mistake like that, and hits a crew member, I'm telling you what, I did that one time, and that really bugged me the entire race. I wondered, did I hurt that guy? And you saw some of the other crew guys showing them they're mad, they're frustrated. He's got to shake that off, and his crew chief has got to tell him it's okay. The guy's okay, he didn't get hurt, get back to driving.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is you have to get your head back in it, because it is a terrible feeling as a driver. We've done it, and it's no fun. But the good thing for him is the crew member was okay, and these guys will be looking back the next time he comes in there, I'll guarantee you.
And that's a good thing, I guess. It's when you see somebody yelling at you, at least you know that they're mad, but they're not hurt. And we see that Kyle Busch decided to take the outside, so I guess that answers the question. Momentum, he's probably going to run that. When they drop that green flag, he's not planning on lifting until he gets back around here, right?
Yeah, if he lifts over there, yeah.
We've seen that almost every single racetrack, that the outside lane has been the preferred lane on the restart. So, you know, we always thought that the inside was always the preferred, but since this double file has come into existence, it has been the outside that's been the most preferred line on these double file restarts.
Yeah, and I think it's more about momentum with these cars, with the plates that they have, or the spacer plates that they run. And then in the Cup cars, it seems to be that, because that's about momentum too, and getting as much throttle as you can as they get ready to come to the green flag. See if it works for Kyle Busch.
All right, let's take a look at this. This is the first corner for the double file restarts for the Nationwide Series here at Atlanta.
Kyle got a nice jump there. See Joey Logano up into the 3rd spot.
See Dale Jr. going 3 wide on the top side on the exit of turn 2 with Sorensen underneath them. And boy, that spot right there is where you can run out of room real quick. I've got run on the wall a couple times by some good drivers, man. and that can give you a problem. You got to know where the guy is behind you off of turn 2.
This is what makes this racetrack so much fun as a driver. You have a lot of racing room. We talk about running on the bottom for the first few laps, but you can also make a lot of time up on the high side if you've got a good race car and can stay in the throttle, as we watched Dale Jr. go around Jeff Burton.
Yeah, and like most places, they don't really drop the tire pressure here a bunch, so when they drop the green, they can go pretty hard.
I'm sorry, that's Brad Keselowski. I was looking at the wrong car, but that's Brad Keselowski making his way up into the top 5.
Dale, I don't know about you, but when I ran here, I'll tell you, I could run like 10 laps on the bottom, and then after that, that bottom would give up on me. Dude, I'd have to move that thing to the top of the racetrack, and it seemed like every time that happened.
Yeah, and it was especially true down in 1 and 2. You could make it work in 3 and 4 around the bottom a lot of times, but you really had to go to the top at 1 and 2. You just couldn't get the grip to exit the corner.
But you know what really aggravates you? There'd be one guy that'd figure out how to do that on the bottom, and he'd be the guy to beat.
And Mark Martin was that guy a lot of the time.
Usually he was, yep.
Guys, we're looking at David Reagan and Reed Sorensen both showing a little bit of strength there. Both those guys were pretty good in practice. They're having a pretty good little battle right there for, it looks like, the 9th and 10th spot.
You know, Sorensen's been giving this car, James Finch's car, a good run in this #1 car. Mike Bliss drove this car most of the year.
Yeah, they put
back in the shot there.
Put quite a few different drivers in the car. Had Max Pappas in it last week at Montreal. Did a great job, but didn't get a great finish out of it. But that was kind of a crazy race. And Reed Sorensen's getting a ride here.
Got some good young talent right in there. Mike Larnett, Trevor Bain.
Yeah, Jason Leffler's made a nice run from the back of the pack here.
Yeah, his car was completely sideways qualifying. I don't know how he didn't wreck it. So he didn't have a very good starting spot, but he has moved up. He's moved up 27 spots since the start of the race, Jason Leffler has.
Yeah, that's real unusual for Leffler to be in the back of the pack in the start of a race. He's a really good qualifier. David, looks like he's getting through this pack pretty good, though.
Well, Rusty, and he didn't think this car was going to be able to do that. He called it terrible when he started out, and before the pit stop, no rear grip and sliding the front end, too. So Scott Zipazelli, his crew chief, threw the track bar, wedge, and air at it, and he continues to pick up spots and run that high line.
Well, there's one thing for sure, Andy and Ray. If these cars are off, as a driver, I'm going to be screaming, stay working on this baby, get me good. It's early in the race. I don't want to get lapped. Fix this hot rod up, man.
I have wore jack screw bolts out at this racetrack. It can drive you crazy because there's just no grip. There's a lot of bumps and a lot of different things going on. And throw that in there, then the driver starts running all over the place. High line, low line, you don't really know where to set up for.
In addition to the cars that Alan mentioned that were out of the race, you got Brendan Gaughan making repairs to his car, and Jason Keller has taken his car behind the wall to the garage to try to work on that car.
Now, Brendan Gaughan come in this race. Gaughan was 10th in the points, and I'll tell you what, he does not want to fall out of the top 10, nor do I want him to fall out of the top 10. So he better get that thing back in the track and get some points.
Well, speaking of points, Stephen had a little bit of a rough go last week at Montreal, but he still moved up a spot in points.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Moved up to 5th in the points and having a pretty good run right now, running 13th. But tell you what, last week's race was a tough race. A lot of them are happy to get out of there, and a lot of them are really happy to be here.
Second caution of the night is waving here in Atlanta for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Degree V12 300. That is Jeremy Clements' car beginning to be pushed back toward the garage area. Trouble in turn 2, and our backseat drivers in the booth. Usually when you see smoke, it's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And you see Jeremy Clement right here with the smoke coming out the back. That's a blown engine. He's going to put him out for the night, and that's a good reason for a caution because you can see oil coming out of that car.
And I hate to see that because Jeremy Clement's a great little driver. I've seen him. He come by my shop, visit us. Andy, you know him well. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's going to be big in this sport.
He's got a lot of potential. I'd like to see him out here more.
All right, backseat drivers up there. 8 laps of green flag racing since the leaders pitted. As they get ready to come to the pit road opening, we're going to see any stops?
As a driver, I'm begging for tires, but I think my crew chief's going to tell me we don't have enough sets.
No, well, I ain't coming.
Well, I'm not either. I mean, we've only run 12 laps, and you see the leaders, most of the leaders right now bypassing the entrance. It's just, like we said at the beginning of the show, they've only got 6 sets of tires for the whole event, and that's counting practice, qualifying, and everything. So you just have to ration your tires, and you can't pit them after 12 laps. Alan?
All right, Andy. So most of the front runners stay out. As you see Jeremy Clement's car being rolled to the garage, we'll also tell you that Jason Keller's car is back there and has been retired from the event with some valve train trouble on the 27. Quick check of the motorsports calendar. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races here in Atlanta tomorrow night, presented by Pennzoil, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Our coverage begins. Huge weekend in the NHRA. Mac Tools NHRA U.S. Nationals, presented by Lucas Oil. Qualifying tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. The finals Labor Day Monday at 1 Eastern. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, we mentioned that tomorrow night at 7 Eastern ESPN. And then our NASCAR Now coverage pre-race is at 10 a.m. Eastern, presented by 5 Hour Energy, tomorrow ESPN2. And the post-race wrap-up late night Sunday night, 11:30 Eastern on ESPN2. Cleaning up on the second caution of the night in Atlanta, Kyle Busch leads. We'll come back for the restart. Coming up on the 1/4 distance mark in tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Kyle Busch, championship leader who's had a couple of not up to his par weeks, is back out in front of this race. Kyle leading here. He took the lead on a pit stop, the only stop the leaders have made back at lap 27. Now, a guy who's knocked a lot of points off of Kyle Busch's advantage in the championship the last few weeks, Brad Keselowski, has moved up to 5th place.
My biggest thing right now, Pops, just loosen the center. You got me down for maybe a 6 or 7 where I was at before to about a 3. Exit is perfect. Entry is perfect. Center is just free, especially the middle of 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there. You want to hear your driver breaking down the corner from entry to middle to off, and evaluate your changes that you make. And he's doing a great job of this right now, helping his crew get this car dialed in.
Yeah, I tell you, that can be difficult because the speeds here are really high. We showed the average speed while ago up over 170 miles an hour or somewhere in that range. And things are happening here. This is a rough racetrack, and try to give the exact feedback. So nice job by Brad. We talked about Brian Vickers making his way up, and he had an issue, had to come back and make another pit stop. Jamie?
That's right, DJ. He was making a move quick. He moved all the way up to 4th. Now, what had happened, the team told me, following qualifying, they found out that the rear hoses that are behind the driver came off. There's 2 different hoses they run. One is for the rear end cooler, and the other is for the driver's cooling area. For that hose, you always see that cools their helmet. Now, the only time that NASCAR told them that they could fix these hoses was on their first pit stop. So they came in, did the routine stop, came in again, and they were able to fix the hoses. So they didn't have to drop to the back at the start of the race. They got it all under control. He slipped back to 25th, and he's moving his way forward. Dave?
Jamie, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 6th has a brake issue. The pedal goes 3/4 of the way to the floor, but then it does catch Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage. What are the possibilities there?
Tell you what, Dave, what the guys usually do in qualifying to get the cars to run a little bit quicker, they will actually take the pliers and clamp the pads back and actually pull the rotors, pull the pad back where it doesn't contact the rotors. But during the race, when that issue comes about like that, I'd say that what happened, the O-ring right here has actually rolled the piston back, and he actually has to pump the brake pedal to get the pads and the pistons out against the rotors.
Well, stay off the braking and run faster. So maybe that would be a good thing. No, it does happen, but it is aggravating as a driver, especially here, Rusty, where you don't use a lot, but have to pump that brake to know that you have it.
Yeah, because you never know if you got a line leaking or something like that. Hey, do I got a line coming loose, or did I crack a line? Am I going to lose brakes? And if he pumps them back, that's a good feeling. But if this problem keeps happening, it could be a loose line.
Well, let's see if Kevin Harvick can anticipate this start of Kyle Busch to try to stay even with him getting into turn 1 here. Here we go, green flag.
Well, he gets some guys. It looked like Casey Kane might have spun the tires a little bit there. That becomes more of a problem after you've run and you haven't gone in and gotten fresh tires.
Boy, take a look at Carl Edwards. Look at Harvick and Edwards.
Harvick gets the run here. He's going to get the lead off turn 2.
3 wide, 4 wide at some spots. These guys just want this ground quick, and they got fresh tires. They got momentum. They want to get it while they can get it, while the getting's good on these tires.
See Kyle Busch try to go back to the top side, see if he can make a run on Harvick to get to his outside off turn 4.
He's there. He's on the outside of Harvick now.
And I'm not sure he lifted through that corner right there, guys. Here comes Casey Kane on the outside of Joey Logano to try to take that 3rd spot away.
Just a little bit loose there. Frito Bandito back up on top again. He's just going to have to be a little bit more careful there, huh?
Yeah, we got a great race for the lead. Look at Harvick. He's not giving up on this thing. He's going to try to work the bottom on Kyle Busch.
Now, you see how these guys are giving each other a lot of room from left to right? The biggest problem is Kevin goes in a corner and then 18 crowds, and that's when these cars get loose and they spin. We see it time and time again. But these are 2 veterans. They know how to run this maneuver.
Give that lap to Harvick.
You could see from that shot that we showed there, Kyle Busch really get back to the throttle quickly, but it looked like it shoved the nose, and he wasn't able to carry that momentum off the corner. That's when Harvick was able to get back to the start-finish line. Here comes Dale Jr.
Those adjustments they made on that last pit stop have helped the 5 car for sure.
I think everybody needed some adjustments at first stop after it was about lap 27, I think. Probably some air pressure wedge. They all made some little adjustments there.
If these guys keep running side by side, they're going to have some company because some fast cars are coming behind them.
Oh, yeah, and if you run side by side, it'll kill your lap speeds. It'll slow you down, Dale. You know, 2 or 3 tenths, your crew chief will be screaming at you. Get back in line, man. They're catching you.
But this is what the fans are watching TV and they're here at this racetrack for, because this is the type of racing that you get at Atlanta, as Harvick's able to take the lead back now. Here comes,
for now.
Yeah. Kyle Busch back to the outside.
Well, Kyle Busch is just relentless on that outside lane.
Tell you what, see Casey Kane, he's running 3rd right now. We don't see him right here. There, he's just peeking into picture. But Kane is running the same lap speeds. In fact, the last time by a little bit quicker. That's because these guys are running side by side, slowing themselves up.
And guys, we are starting to see the temperature come down a little bit. It's gotten a lot darker than it has. We're seeing more rubber get down on the track. The track is changing. It's coming to some of these guys. They're putting some more rubber down on the outside so they can keep that momentum up. The guys on the bottom still look like they got to squeeze out of that throttle a little bit getting in.
And now we got Kyle Busch looking to the inside of Harvick. And gets the spot. Man, these guys got a great battle going on.
Kyle's saying, you got me hung outside, Kevin. I don't like it out there right now. Let me get to the bottom, see if this works. And it worked for him. Now he's got that clean air we talk about all the time in the nose of his car, making that thing handle better.
You see Harvey's car really bottoming out. That's that extra speed. Dale was talking about this just before the race started, that, you know, one thing that these guys have not done is race at night at Atlanta, and that grip level, when it goes up, it makes the cars run faster. That makes them bottom out more, like we saw right there, and that could become more of an issue as the race goes on.
Here's Dale Jr. trying to work that inside of Casey Kane once again. Looks like he's going to be able to make the pass off of turn 4 this time. Really good changes for Junior coming back to the front. He had slipped back in that first run to about 6th or 7th spot, so now he's moving forward.
And he said he wanted his car to work on the bottom, and that right there told me that they've got it working on the bottom, right there on the yellow line all the way through 1 and 2.
And I think as this track cools off even more, as Ray was pointing out, that's going to be something that we're going to see more of, that the guys that can, as you were talking about, the people that can make their cars work down there are going to be the guys to beat.
And as that air cools down, it's actually going to feed that motor a little bit better. They're going to have a little bit more horsepower, so they're not going to bog down on the bottom as much as they were.
Yeah, we saw Brian Vickers come through that shot, though. He was still up there against the wall trying to make his passes and get his way back to the front.
Got a little more ground to make up, though.
Kevin Harvick leading tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series 300-miler from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, just past 1/4 distance in the event. A look at our holiday and race summary so far. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started on pole, led the first 5 laps. Then Harvick went by him, led for a while. Kyle Busch took the lead on the lap 27 pit stops, the only stops for the leaders so far. And then after the second caution, a restart with lap 46, Kevin Harvick went after him. And after they swapped the lead back and forth, Harvick has established himself out in front. Of the 43 starters, 29 are on the lead lap, and it is time for our Nationwide Insurance Up to Speed to get you a little update on what some of these drivers are doing. Let's start with the leader and Jamie Little.
Well, Kevin Harvick has had a rocket ship under him all day long in practice, and qualifying tonight is the same story. Now his crew chief, Ernie Koch, learned this setup in the Truck Series in March, and it worked. They unloaded, changed his shock, and that was it. Tonight, the first and only pit stop, made an air pressure adjustment. The car has only gotten better. Dave?
Jamie, Kyle Busch runs in second. During qualifying, he was openly critical of the set of tires on his car. So right before it started this race, I asked him, is that set going to be okay? He said, yeah, but I can't wait to get the second set on. But many fewer complaints about the car during this run as he runs in second place. Behind him running in third, Dale Earnhardt Jr., our in-race reporter. Brake problem for now, not that much of a problem. But remember when Rusty asked him, what about the high line? And he said, it may not be the race-winning line. Here's what he said on his radio recently.
Just got to hook that left front on that apron, that yellow line. It's got to be there. His drive's pretty good right now.
Got to hook the left front on the apron. There he goes. That's the fast way around this place right now for Dale Earnhardt Jr. We mentioned that Casey Kane is running 5 races for Braun Racing in the 10 car. So how do you give a part-time driver a chance to hit his pit box every time on pit road? That's how. You give him his Sprint Cup number that he usually runs on Sundays just to make sure he enters the right box. Shannon?
Well, Dave, Joey Logano back in the 20 car after a little bit of a hiatus. He is a rookie here at this racetrack, so he's got that yellow stripe on the back. It's been a very busy day. Dave Rogers told me they made so many changes to this car, he felt like they rebuilt it. The biggest thing they're dealing with right now is grip. Joey Logano says it's like a light switch. One minute he has it, the next he doesn't. Vince?
The 88 of Brad Keselowski, you heard him on his radio a short while ago talking about how much better the car was handling after those pit stop adjustments. Well, the car has gone away from him a bit as the run has gone on. He says it is the center of the corner that's creating the problem. But even that said, much more comfortable than they were a week ago when they were on that road course at Montreal. He's not a road course driver, but he ended up 5th. It's almost like a victory for him there. Feels much better here. The 29 car of Jeff Burton. They run in the top 10, 5th to 10th consistently, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump and run in the top 5 consistently, where if you get a good break, you might end up winning. That hasn't happened for them this season yet. They've won twice here before in the 29 with Jeff Burton. I don't know if this is going to be number 3 or not. Shannon?
Vince, there have been no complaints on the radio from Carl Edwards about his broken right foot. Right now, he has dropped back a little at the start of this run. He restarted 4th, and right now he's currently running 8th, but that has nothing to do with his foot. It has to do with the handling. He says the car is so loose it is difficult to drive. They are going to make a chassis adjustment on the next stop, and they made a track bar on their first stop, so they're definitely working on this 60 car. Dave?
Paul Menard now running right where he started in the 9th place. There's that 98 car right there. Been searching a line for the car, running really well in 3 and 4. He asked his crew, hey, watch this next was a 10th better. That is running in 1 and 2. He also has gone to the low line. Vince?
The one car of Reed Sorensen, they took a piece of tape off the front end to help with the temperature of the car, which was running hot. He said it took away from the front end handling. He says it's still loose. I can't turn it left in the center of the corner. That's not a good feeling. The 99 of Trevor Bayne. Boy, it's been an impressive run for Trevor Bayne. I was talking to Jerry Baxter, the crew chief, before, and he said this 18-year-old is full of talent. Bayne told me we're going to concentrate more on having a good car in the long run. That's the key, he feels, to having a successful night here at Atlanta. Shannon?
Well, Vince, you may be surprised to learn that 16 car of Greg Biffle is tight. While everybody else is having handling problems, grip problems, this team is battling the tight conditions. Now, this was by design. This 16 team decided to come in with a tighter setup today. They said it was more manageable. This is the same car that Greg Biffle won with in Vegas, and they're going to make a wedge adjustment on their next stop. Jamie?
Shannon, look who's knocking now. It's Brian Vickers working his way back up after those issues when he had to pit for the second time for the rear hose issue. He says the car is good. It's good up top in 1 and 2, and on the bottom in 3 and 4. He's working away, Alan.
All right, Jamie, so updates there on the top 13 drivers in the race at the moment as we push through lap 65 and work 66. By the way, a look at the radar. The rain for now seems to be staying away. That's good news for leader Kevin Harvick and the other drivers. ESPN with a college football doubleheader for you on Labor Day. First at 4 Eastern, it's a battle of Big East rivals, the Cincinnati Bearcats and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Then at 8 Eastern, it's a Sunshine State rivalry. The Miami Hurricanes taking on Bobby Bowden's Florida State Seminoles in the ACC. College football presented by Cars.com and college football primetime on ESPN Monday. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And ESPN's Backseat Drivers coverage continues tonight from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where Kevin Harvick in the 33 has opened up a 3-second lead on Kyle Busch. Didn't think we'd see that when we were watching these two fight for the top spot earlier, gentlemen.
Tell you what, look at the back of Kevin Harvick's car. It says, "So fast you'll freak." Guys, I got to agree with that.
Yeah, they knew something coming in here, didn't they? He has got this thing below the yellow line with the left side tires, just digging around this racetrack.
And it seems like the longer runs is even better yet. I mean, they have slowed down over 2 seconds from his fast lap of the race, which was 31.60. The last lap was actually a 33.62. So 2 seconds per lap fall off so far.
Yeah, no backseat drivers here. I mean, he's got that thing going. He's actually hooking that left front. You heard Junior say before, he's hooking that left front and pulling that thing around. You've got to have a really good handling car to do that, because if you've got a car that's just a little bit loose, you're going to be looking out the back window if you run down on that apron like that.
You can see his car looks like it's still on the free side on the exit of the corner.
Right here, you can see the fall off here in the last few laps, and Harvick's going down from 168 on lap 52 down to 164 on lap 73. You kind of see how it falls off for Kyle Busch, but Kyle's last lap on lap 73 was a little bit faster than Harvick, so maybe this 18 car might have the best car in the really long runs.
Tell you what, Andy, that last time by, that was a good point over Kyle Busch over Harvick, because that last time by, Kyle Busch, a 33.62 compared to Kevin Harvick's 33.86, so he's definitely catching him.
Yeah. There's Mike Wallace in the Sundrop car, and you can see Justin Allgaier closing in on him from behind.
Guys, we're looking at probably 10, 12 laps away from starting green flag pit stop, so it's going to be interesting for those guys coming to pit road.
Yeah, we only had a couple of cars that are still on the lead lap that pitted under that last caution for fuel. Jason Leffler being one of those cars. So we'll see if that's an advantage for him. But we seem to always get a section of this race to where we get a long green flag stretch. And the entrance to this pit road can be very difficult under green flag conditions.
Boy, you're exactly right there. I've almost spun out a couple times coming off this corner, turn forward about 200 miles per hour. You got to get on the brakes, downshift this baby, and get to that yellow line on entry. And it is really tough to do that. We might see some guys spin coming down pit road.
And you're doing that with tires that are worn almost virtually to the cord. So you don't have a lot of grip when you're trying to get down on pit road, and it's hard to judge that, how much grip you do have.
And this place historically, got a lot of guys get caught speeding in that first box just because of that. They just can't get wound down enough.
Yeah, I was hoping you wouldn't bring that up. When we first went to this pit road deal, I got caught 3 times in one deal. I got caught coming in, then I came into my deal, got caught going out, and then I got caught coming back in to serve that penalty. So, yeah, I was one of those that was a hard learner here. We're riding along with Justin Allgaier here as he's getting ready to get lapped and go a lap down. He's in the 21st spot, but going.
Man, that
went a lap down.
That is not the position you want to be in, because just in a couple laps now, all right, what do you think, guys? About 5 laps, you're going to start hitting pit road, maybe 8, something like that.
And definitely within the next 10 laps, you'll start to see the leaders come down pit road.
Well, Harvick's got things going his way right now. Kyle Busch has cut in on that lead that was over 3 seconds just a few minutes ago.
Kevin Harvick in the 33 leads the Degree V12 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Live coverage from the Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight. Harvick out in front by 3.6 seconds over Kyle Busch, with a set of pit stops approaching very, very soon. A look back at the gap to Kyle Busch and our champions upstairs in the booth. Harvick and Kyle separated a little bit on this long run.
Long gone. Yeah, we talk about it. He's almost 4 seconds back now. It's Kyle Busch, but Dale Jr.'s almost 13 seconds back in 3rd place.
Well, you know how it feels to have a special car. You get there and like, this thing is perfect. That's what's going on with Kevin Harvick tonight. This is his sweet spot so far. This is his own team. He's driving for his own team. He's putting a lot of effort in that 33 car, and he is kicking these dudes. You know what's tonight?
Yeah, and it's almost effortless too. I've watched how he's been lapping these cars, and he's just effortlessly going around them, not even using the car up next to the wall. He's just got a really fast car tonight.
Yeah, and we see Junior working the wheel there, but
that's a little harder for Junior tonight than it is for Harvick.
You look at Harvick. That's when you know your car is that good. When you can cut through traffic, he is gaining in traffic. You might have that caution.
You see some problem here with Trevor Bayne. He just gone down a lap. Now you see a little smoke coming out of the car. Got a right down. I was wondering about that on this long run, guys, because this track is really hard on tire wear. It's really borderline for a set of tires to go a full gas stop here.
Boy, Andy, they are due in any time right now. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, next time by, we're hearing the leaders coming down pit road. That's Harvick. That's a good time for him
and I'll tell you,
start hitting pit road.
This is one of those times that you really get nervous as a crew chief, because if you're coming in on pit road right here, somebody else might have a tire go down, and then you get caught down a lap.
Yeah, but Kevin Harvick needs to get in here. He's got such a fast race car. It's not going to affect him, really. He's got a big enough lead. He's not going to lose a lap, so he's going to be okay.
Here he comes. Whoa, down. He slowed her way down. He's not taking any chances.
Yeah, because you see Michael Annette behind him there, smoking the tires, trying to get to pit road speed.
And there's a good photograph right there of what just happened. Annette, you saw him go up and smoke. Harvick, the veteran, got down real good, Jamie.
And your leader, Kevin Harvick, is in the pit box. He wanted more grip. It's going to be 4 tires going back on that last air pressure adjustment that they made. The wrench goes in the rear window. They made a wedge adjustment there. They were thinking about a track bar adjustment. I think they went away with that. Left side goes up. Left side tires are on. Wipe the front grill. He's down and away.
Michael Arnett, a little bit close to the wall, too. They say that could be another rookie mistake. When they get that left side close to the wall, it's hard for those guys to pull a good pit stop. Jamie, you got something to add to that on 32?
And the 32, this is his planned pit stop here. They're going to make a round of wedge and air pressure adjustment, and he was loose like he has been all day and all night. Yes, even for Brian Biggers, he is loose. 4 tires, car has been good. He actually got all the way back up into the top 10 and he's down and away. Dave?
Kyle Busch gives up the lead. I believe he did leave a lap. He'll get a wedge adjustment for a car which has been loose on landing. That's where he said he needs the help. Passing in front of him also is Casey Kane. Changes didn't work last time. Kane in the 10 car in as well. And the 5 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr. there at the head of pit road. You see him loose but tightening as the run went along. He will get adjustments as well for our race reporter. Shannon?
Yeah, Joey Logano in the 20 car right now just needs a little help in the turns. He's going to get 4 tires here on pit road. They're also going to make a track bar adjustment and a wedge adjustment. Joey Logano back in that car, looking for a good run for the 20 team here today, guys.
Comes Carl Edwards making his done. Now this right foot, this could cause him some problems on pit road too, and trying to use the gas, get on the brake, and get himself into his pit stall. Shannon?
Like I told you before, the car is so loose for Carl Edwards. He says it's hard to drive, so they're going to put some wedge in the left rear. They're also going to take 4 tires. There have been no complaints over the radio about that right foot, you guys. So Carl Edwards hanging tough inside the 60 car. They're just trying to get it fixed up for him on the racetrack. Solid stop for Carl Edwards. Jamie?
And the 66 is Stephen Walsh, glad to be away from that road course and back on this oval. He had a tough run last week. He stopped a little short in his pit box. 4 tires for the 66, Vince.
struggling to get drive off of 2 and 4. They made a track bar and a wedge adjustment.
It looks like we're about cycled through. You know, going back to that 99 car losing that, when you're out there leading the race and you've got a car that good, that makes you want to pit a little bit early. You start thinking, well, there's a first right front down. I'm going to come on in this time, man. Jamie, have you got something on the 11?
And Kelly Byers making his first start for CJM Racing. It was 4 tires. They did a tear off there in fuel. Having a tough go of it today. Didn't have a whole lot of time. First time in this car with this team, but the car is coming around. Good stop for Kelly Byers.
I tell you what, you saw Kevin Harvick peel off in pit road. There's some cars that stayed out almost 5 laps later, hoping for a caution to get those laps back because Harvick was killing them. But the problem is, when you stay out, he is just outrunning the dickens out of these guys with those fresh tires at that point.
Yeah, and Reed Sorensen is still out on the racetrack. He is the leader. Here comes Casey Kane serving a penalty. He was too fast entering the pits under green. This is a pass-through penalty.
Exactly what Rusty was talking about.
And you see right here, he's trying to get Woe down. He's got a car in his way, so he has to make an evasive move right there.
It was Chase Austin right there running awful slow, and it looked like Casey was running awful fast, and you got to be inside that cone.
Okay, here's the leader, Reed Sorensen in.
That's going to put Kevin Harvick back at the front. Good pit stop for Reed and his guys.
That does cycle all the leaders through back with Harvick as a leader, but Jason Leffler is still showing us third. He's still out there on his tank of fuel. He still has to make a stop.
And we can see as these guys come back out, it was up over right at 4 seconds lead, and right now it's 3.3 as they make this lap. So Kyle Busch had gained a little bit on that pit sequence. But he's been in traffic here, so Harvick's been able to stretch it back out a little bit. He looks like the man to beat. I don't know if Kyle Busch made enough adjustment to get his car up there and see what he can do with Mr. Harvick tonight.
No change up front as Kevin Harvick continues to lead. A reminder that tomorrow the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil, coverage at 7 Eastern on ESPN, and a huge weekend in drag racing. The Mac Tools NHRA U.S. Nationals, presented by Lucas Oil, qualifying tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. and 5 Eastern ESPN2, and the finals on Labor Day Monday, 1 Eastern ESPN2, and our NASCAR Now wraparound coverage from here in Atlanta. The pre-race show presented by 5 Hour Energy, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, tomorrow morning ESPN2, and the post-race wrap-up Sunday night, 11:30 Eastern ESPN2. There is your motorsports calendar for the weekend. We have just crossed the halfway point of tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Kevin Harvick out in front. He's led 66 of the 98 laps so far. And after the exchange of pit stops, his lead shrinking a little bit. Kyle Busch has cut it down to a 1.5 seconds. The deficit he sees up to the first place car, although that changes some depending on lapped traffic. There's the gap from first back to second place. Our backseat drivers coverage tonight with our 4 champions up in the booth. Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Andy Petrie, and Ray Evernham, as we see a little race between Keselowski and Logano.
Yeah, Brad looks like he's made some adjustments to his car there that are to his liking. He's able to take that 4th spot away.
That's one of the things I've really admired about Brad Keselowski in particular. He's very good at getting his car good at the end of the race, and he keeps working on it. Even if he doesn't qualify well, you can expect to see this 88 car moving up during the race.
You know, we listened to him earlier breaking the corners down to his crew chief. He was saying, you know, I'm about a 6 loose. Now I'm about a 2 loose. I mean, that's very important to give how loose these cars are. A lot of them just say I'm loose or I'm not loose. But when you can break it down, the crew chief always wants to know how much. And they're using numbers, and that's really helping. Vince, it looks like he's good out there, though.
Well, that's exactly right. And Rusty, you make a great point in regards to the communication with the crew chief. Of course, Tony Erie Sr. He and Pops, Brad Keselowski and Pops have had a running dialogue throughout the course of this race that has included their spotter. And that spotter informs Brad of when he gets off the corners best, whether it's where his car is positioned. Pops is constantly communicating with Brad in regards to lap times and where the car is positioned on the track. They're also been keeping an eye on their teammate, the 5-car of Dale Earnhardt Jr., and where Jr. seems to be having success. It is a total team effort for the 88 tonight, and as you guys noted, it is a good run up into the top 5.
That communication is important, but that guy that just showed that box on that pit box, he's won a few races over the years with the Earnhardt family.
You got that right. You know what?
Yeah. A lot of experience right there now. Yeah. I'm telling you, that guy's sharp.
He's a tough old dude, too, man. He'll get in your face if he don't like you and give you a piece of his mind.
Yeah, we talked about how Kyle Busch was able to make up some time there on that green flag pit stop. If we break down the pit stop itself, you can see between these two cars, between Harvick and Kyle Busch, if you break it down to right sides, what the Jackman's doing, and the left side, you can see right here that on the right side, the 18 crew beat Harvick's crew by just over a second and a half. And then you see the Jackman actually getting around the car. That was another little bit of time. Lost a little bit of time on the left, but overall, you can see how he beat Kevin Harvick's team by a second and a half.
Yeah, and that, you know, in our first pit stop sequence under caution, Kyle Busch came in running second, and he beat Kevin Harvick out of the pits and took the lead at that time. So this championship team is doing the job on pit road tonight also, but Harvick's getting it done on the racetrack. Yeah, you see just in front of Mr. Harvick there is Carl Edwards, who had a little trouble earlier in making the green flag pit stop. Guys, you have to, you know, we wonder, is his foot giving him a problem in trying to make something like that? Let's see on your screen here, he couldn't get his car slowed down enough to get the pit road that first time.
Yeah, that cost him quite a bit of time to have to slow down that much and then come back around and make your green flag pit stop. Shannon?
Guys, I checked in with the team, and they said it did not have anything to do with the foot for Carl Edwards. He just could not get slowed down. It's a fast racetrack and had a hard time doing it, but he did come over the radio, apologized to his team, and said that one was on me.
Oh, you can see him really loose right there.
Look at his size hung out right there.
It is totally sideways
out there.
You know, and not disputing what they're saying, but you got to think that that's giving Carl some problem coming to pit road and trying to drive this race car.
Okay, we've talked about just how good Kevin Harvick's car is. That's Carl Edwards. He's running 8th place. He just got lapped by Kevin Harvick.
Yeah. And Greg Biffles is right in front of there.
Is right there too.
But DJ, I agree with you, DJ. There's when you're in pain, it's a distraction. And this, unlike other sports, they're not getting a break to go in and ice that thing down or take a timeout or any of that. He's in that car. He's got the vibration. He's got the heat. He's got the pressure all the time.
And that's the thing about our sport that's different is, you know, if this was an NFL game, they had a backup quarterback. You can put a backup driver in there now, but Carl has to start this car to get the points, but he's wanting to stay in there. But this has to be one of the most difficult racetracks for him to get to adjust to do that, because we saw what Tim Brewer was talking about earlier with the way that you move your foot. If he's having to pick that leg up and down and the foot off, and he can't just move that, this is one of the most difficult places he could possibly come to.
Harvick's car just glued to the bottom of the racetrack. I haven't seen a car in a while that's had this clear cut of advantage over the field.
Well, he's got, Kyle Busch is just under 3 seconds back, but the third place car is 20 seconds back now.
But that just goes to show how good he really is. I mean, this is amazing how good Harvick is compared to Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now, who's running third. Dave, this guy has just got it. He's running good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not as good as the leader right now. Needs to make up some ground. After that last pit stop, guys, they lowered the air pressures in that car to try to help Junior. He didn't like it. Listen.
It's banging hard. I can hear it to tell me. 10-4.
Okay, banging hard. It was hitting the bottom. The bottom was obviously bottoming out on the racetrack. That from low air pressures. About 10 laps into the run, he came back to the team and he said, well, I can drive it. Now, if you want to help me on the next stop, you can, but I think I can drive it. So they'll work on what he really wants closer to the time they pit for the final time here tonight.
Guys, what I meant to say about Dale Jr., he's running good, but he's still 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, he's running third, but he's 20 seconds behind the leader. But you can see him working the wheel. You can see the throttle staying down pretty good. He's able to hold down the throttle a fair amount, I mean, for what we're seeing out there for some of the cars sliding around. But he's having to work that steering wheel.
See how he's pulling to the left a little bit. I mean, he's a little tight, it looks like, when I see that, right?
Yep,
but if he gets that thing back to the right, that means he's loose. And right now, an indication that he's tight.
Yeah, this is a really rough racetrack, and so you have to really work the steering wheel as much here as anywhere that you go. And so if you have a car that's not handling really good, that just magnifies your problems as you try to negotiate these bumps.
Yeah. It looks like as he's pulling that wheel pretty far to the left, and sometimes when those tires are turned that far, the car kind of snaps back. If it's skipping along, you're trying to catch it. As we were watching, let's take a look at what Kevin Harvick, who's going so fast, what he looks like turning that steering wheel. See if he's turning that far to the left and then back to the right. Now see if we can see his hands. And he's on a straightaway now, but
I think he's got it on
rolls
cruise
off in the
control
corner.
right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's working it a little bit.
He's having to work at it too.
But he's not turning it as far to the left, Andy, is what I'm saying.
Yep. That's
he's
right.
He's more in the middle.
Way less steering input than you're seeing in that 5 car.
Yeah, and y'all were talking earlier, it looked like he was kind of on cruise control maybe. I felt like we'll watch him. He's working hard inside this, but he's just got it to where he wants it and he knows what he's got, and this thing is just fast.
I'll tell you, some of the steering they've got to do, guys, is because of the bumps on this racetrack. We talked earlier, Dale, about how much rougher this racetrack's getting right now. There's a lot of light and dark spots on the track, and those light and dark spots are bumps. Take a look at this right. It's a good view right there, how the track is really getting rough. And a lot of that, you have to steer through those bumps sometime if you don't have a good handling car.
I cannot believe, really, how much difference there is in that steering input that you brought up. I mean, Harvick's not putting near the input into that car. He's having to, just make minor corrections, but he's not putting the overall input that you're seeing in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car.
We've been watching him most of the night, and we saw when he was racing with Kyle Busch, and obviously he had to drive it straighter into the corner then, but he's really driving the car straighter into the corner. You see him not really out by the wall, arcing it down, because the car is pretty free. And so let's watch here the difference with Dale Jr. See how much wheel he's got in this. Now, their hand positions obviously will make some of that, but look at Jr. really working the steering wheel, and Harvick's putting very little input. I think whatever they learned with that truck, it enabled them to get this car to turn and rotate, but then be able to keep the power down on top of that, which is the ultimate for a race driver. That's exactly what you're looking for.
So now you're telling me everybody's going to get trucks right now.
Well,
They got to get a little practice. And I do have the inaugural truck race going on in Iowa tonight, too, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Everybody doesn't have Rick Wren and Ron Horn today, so they might need them to help them out. But Kevin Harvick's certainly making it work here tonight.
Usually when there's a full moon over a racetrack on a Saturday night, it leads to a lot of crashing and bashing, but it's been a very clean Degree V12 300 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series so far here at Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight. A look at our Verizon Wireless race rundown for you now. Story of the night coming in, Carl Edwards, second in points, broke his right foot playing Frisbee on Wednesday. How would he fare behind the wheel of the 60 car tonight? It certainly didn't look very comfortable getting in and getting buckled up. Early in the race, Dale Jr. led 5 laps. Then Kevin Harvick went by. Kyle Busch took the lead on a set of pit stops. Then after the most recent restop, he and Kevin Harvick locked up in a great fight for the top spot that Harvick eventually won out. Kevin going to the point for the last time in that fight on lap 52. Then a set of green flag pit stops between laps 86 and 90. Harvick's crew held the top spot. After giving up the lead to Kyle Busch on the first caution flag pit stop, his crew got the job done on pit road then, and Harvick has right now a 6-second lead on second place with 74 laps to go. How fast has Kevin Harvick been? So fast that he's lapped up to the 6th place car. Just 5 remain on the lead lap, and you see Kevin Harvick has led 89 laps tonight after leading just a handful of laps in his previous 7 Nationwide Series races at Atlanta. So what does 6 seconds look like on this fast mile-and-a-half track? There goes Harvick out the right side of the screen. There he comes, and whistle a tune, read a chapter of a book, and there comes Kyle Busch, who is running second, and obviously that's not a place Kyle Busch enjoys running.
Car's not bad, dude. I just wish it was faster. Simple. We'll see how it progresses here. We can do some pit strategy stuff, make up some time on this guy. We were better than him on that stop. We just got in that traffic.
Well, that traffic has put Kyle 6 seconds behind now. 73 laps to go. Still another round of pit stops to go. And backseat drivers, looks like he got a little handful there, too.
You know, Kyle Busch knows what it feels like to have somebody kicking his rear end around this racetrack. I mean, that's what's happening tonight. I mean, Kevin Harvick is just really getting it done, and this is the kind of thing we've seen Kyle Busch do a lot this year.
Yeah, and when he said they're going to try some pit strategy, I want to see that too. Oh, we've got a caution on the racetrack.
Well, we've only got 5 cars on the lead lap. That should have
Jeff Burton. Yeah, Burton will get the free pass here.
Well, he should. Yeah, he should get the free pass here on this one, and that would be 6 cars on the lead lap.
4 tires. Did you hit anything, scuff anything over there? Steering wheel's fine. I just kind of think I rubbed the door on the wall a little bit.
That was the 6 car. Radio. Oh, 66, okay. 66 car. Said he rubbed the wall just a little bit.
Even with cars getting into the wall just a little bit here, because a lot of cars are running right up against the wall. NASCAR can't take any chance of something coming off of there and puncturing a tire. So that's what the caution is for here.
Something as simple as a side skirt or something. We were talking about Kevin Harvick before that caution came out there, and we said, well, we were going to see history tonight with racing the nationwide cars under the lights. Well, when's the last time that somebody lapped the field? We might see history again.
This was like 20 years ago. We only got 5 cars on the lead lap, getting ready to be 6 after Jeff Burton gets this free pass.
Yeah, he was just
we've had enough
really
green
close.
flag. You know, we've had enough green flag running now that they've got 2 more sets of tires in the pits. They'll obviously take this opportunity to get 4, but they'll have another set laying there for that late race caution flag that may pop up.
Yeah, and Andy, they're not in a window, so they can't go from here, so they're going to have to pit again.
Well, it's a lonely pit road. You see the 2 leaders coming down pit road, and it's a while before the rest of the leaders get there. You can see the very top of the screen, Dale Earnhardt Jr. just now breaking off the racetrack.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano were the other cars that were able to remain on the lead lap. Jamie?
Well, they told Kevin Harvick, that's 5th place up ahead of you. He goes, cool. So they set 4 tires, go back on that wedge adjustment because the car was just hitting the track too hard, and it's a good stop. Dave?
And Kyle Busch will get more wedge and a little bit of air pressure adjustment for the car that's just a little bit too loose to contend with Harvick. We'll see what that does. Shannon?
Joey Logano says the car is loose, then tight, then loose again. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment in the left rear tire. 4 tires. They have a new jack man working on this team. You see him right there, TJ Ford. He works on the Cup side 42. They've been having solid pit stops all day, guys.
Looks like Kyle Busch's team was able to get the lead off pit road from Harvick. See right there, got 4 tires and gained a spot. So Jason Radcliffe said he had a little something for him when they made that pit stop, and he did it that time.
That's pretty good strategy. I don't know if that's what he had in mind, but it worked out this time. We'll see if Kyle Busch can hold the lead.
New leader Kyle Busch, after getting the top spot on the pit stops, he's chosen the inside lane for the restart on Kevin Harvick. And let's look at the 2 pit stops, Harvick's and Kyle Busch's, gentlemen.
Yeah, you can see Harvick coming in. His stop gets in the stall clean. Right rear tire changer has just the jackman pulling the right rear tire off has trouble getting the tire off. That little hiccup's all it takes to have a stop that's just a little bit slower and lose the lead off pit road. You can see Kyle Busch's stop pretty clean, and he's off, and he gets that lead coming off pit road. And right here you can see it again on the right side that Kyle Busch's team is faster than Harvick's, and the jackman's just about 0.4 of a second faster. Harvick's team seems to be doing pretty well on the left side, but not able to make up the ground they're losing on the jack side and the right side. So you can see there he's still about a little more than a second faster, Kyle Busch's team is.
Now we're coming to the green. Now Kyle's chosen the outside. Now he's chosen the inside.
This is
the track changing that much?
Well, he saw how good he got a good run on him that last restart. Harvick was down on the inside, even though that Kyle Busch was the control car on the outside, and he was able to get the lead from him. They swapped it back and forth 3 or 4 times, but he saw something there.
Yeah, we'll see if this works, because he's seen him drive away from him down the bottom, so he's trying to take that option away from him for a minute. His car's been pretty good on these fresh tires. For about the first 10 or 15 laps, he's able to hang right with Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, that last restart when they had new tires, we saw these 2 cars swap the lead 3 or 4 times. Had a great race for the lead.
Well, I can guarantee you, Kevin Harvick, who has been dominating this race throughout the day, had a bad pit stop, and he's thinking, hey, I'm a little mad right now. I want to get this baby back to the front. I've been the man all night long. I want the lead, Kyle Busch.
Uh-oh, we got a little problem here with the 11 car, Kelly Byers. It looks like it's smoke out the right side.
Looks like there's smoke coming out of the tailpipes. It looks like an injury-related problem for the 11 car of Kelly Byers.
You can see our leaders racing side by side here.
Oh, this has got to be fun, guys. I tell you, these guys racing side by side like this.
Yeah.
This is what you live for.
Right behind them, Keselowski and Junior.
Got the
racing
teammates.
for that 3rd spot.
Teammates racing for 3rd.
You know, we saw these guys early. Kyle Busch and Harvick running side by side, lap after lap after lap. Looks like it took about 10 laps before Harvick really kind of got away from him and he took off. So we'll have to see if this scenario happens again.
But you know, there are four cars that got the wave around right before that restart there. It was a 10, 24, 62, and 1, and that actually got Reed Sorensen back on the lead lap. Now, he's on a lot older tires, so we'll have to see how that works out for him.
And he doesn't have enough Sunoco fuel, or as much fuel as the other cars do, so he's going to have to make another pit stop. He's hoping for a quick caution, and if he could get one, it would really put him back in the race.
There's Carl Edwards and Greg Biffle. They're both a lap down. They're racing for that spot that would get the free pass if we should have another caution.
So they're going to race hard for this spot. They're not going to give any quarter here.
Yeah, even though they're a lap down, they're racing for 8th and 9th spot. Carl, you haven't heard, has a broken foot. He's playing Frisbee with his friends this week and went and put his foot on the Frisbee. I'm not a Frisbee player, but anyway, his buddy went to come at it too and got into his ankle and broke his foot. So unfortunate.
Whoa,
we can see these guys
look at that.
both sliding off of turn 4. Wow.
That Biffle has a controlled slide right up on the inside of Carl Edwards. How does he stay out of a...
Well, I don't know how controlled it might have been, but he stayed off of him anyway.
Andy, I guarantee a 16 car didn't mean to have a controlled slide. He just started sliding, had to control it somehow.
Yeah, what's a controlled slide?
That's when you don't hit anything.
Here's your 5th place car, Joey Logano. Got Beatles on the hood of that car.
You think he knows who the Beatles are?
I can't imagine he
At
would.
18 years old, I'm not sure. It was that 1969 with the Beatles or something. It's a cool paint scheme.
His sponsor, GameStop, had a big national sales meeting out in Las Vegas, and they took all their guys to the Beatles concert. It's called Love, out there at the Mirage the other day. So it's a big Beatles week for his sponsor.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure. He knows, he may not know the Beatles, but he knows the rest of this racetrack. That kid's doing a good job tonight, you know, for a tough race, fast race, and he's still running in the top 5.
He's on the lead lap. That's very few cars
not
can
many
do
can
that
say
tonight.
that.
He's one of them. Okay, Harvick's having to play catch-up here now for the first time tonight.
I believe he can probably go anywhere he wants to for the first 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, he's stupid fast for like 6, 7 laps there, Kevin. Like, he starts out about a half a second better than everybody. Then he just starts evening out, then he comes back to you.
Yeah, you can hear him talk about that, how fast that 18 car is. Watch these cars, you can really see the 2 different lines. We showed Kevin Harvick earlier not turning the steering wheel, but watch Kyle Busch really arc his car into the corner. Kevin Harvick's about a car width off the wall, driving a lot straighter in and still bottoming out quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that speeds are up, and Kevin's car's had a really good look attitude-wise since they've been here. You know, that left front down, right rear up, and then aerodynamically, that is just what you want around here. You want that left front down. Dave, have you got anything on the 18 car?
Yeah, Ray, I was listening to Kyle Busch and Jason Ratcliffe put together that last pit stop full of changes. And believe me, it was a cooperative effort because Jason said, I can do something to help your car on entry, but you were talking about wedge. I can do air. And he goes, you know, if you can do the air, then give me the wedge. You know, and we get sort of lost in how much of this and how much of that they do. Let it be said, though, that this was a cooperative effort. At the end of the day, Ratcliffe's suggestions and Kyle's suggestions were put on this car for that pit stop, and he's in the lead.
Yeah, and it's a combination of things. I mean, you're constantly working a combination of a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's normally not one thing that'll fix it, and that's why going back to that driver crew chief communication, it's so important throughout the race.
I tell you guys, one thing I'm wondering right now, this 18 car Kyle Busch, he just made a pit stop. They made some adjustments, air pressure, things like that. And that last time by, he's outrun Kevin Harvick by about 1/10 of a second. And Kevin doesn't want to see that. Like I said, he's the man tonight. But he just might be getting behind right now a little bit compared to Kyle Busch.
Well, that's the thing. When you're running second like Kyle Busch has, he's seeing somebody beat him. He's going to work on that car and keep working on it until he gets something he can work with.
This is a battle for 4th right here. Joey Logano trying to take that spot away from Brad Keselowski.
Running that low line, that top line's been the faster line tonight, so they can keep that momentum wound up. But Keselowski's having a good night. I mean, he's had a solid handling car throughout the night. They talk about Joey Logano. Also, Logano's running 5th. We've talked earlier in the broadcast about how Kevin Harvick earlier has been lapping everybody. There's 7 cars on the lead lap right now, but we're going to have a couple of them hitting pit road shortly. One of them, Reed Sorensen, because he stood out on the racetrack and he's just about out of fuel. It's not going to be too long before Sorensen starts hitting pit road.
ESPN kicks off a college football doubleheader on Labor Day. First at 4 Eastern, it's a Big East battle with the Cincinnati Bearcats taking on the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Then at 8 Eastern, it's the Sunshine State rivalry between the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles in Tallahassee in the ACC. College football presented by Cars.com and College Football Primetime on ESPN Monday. For more, log on to ESPN.com. 51 laps to go in tonight's NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Atlanta. Things heating up front. Kyle Busch in the 18's the leader. Kevin Harvick in the 33 trying to track him down. Remember that Kyle's team got him the lead on the last set of pit stops that came just a short while ago at lap 125. Now, those pit stops and the resulting restart with 67 to go set the cars just beyond, for most, the edge of their fuel window. And with only 7 cars on the lead lap, we toss it up to our backseat drivers and our champion drivers and crew chiefs to kick around a lot of strategy possibilities that were opened up by the timing of that last pit stop and the few cars that are left on the lead lap. What do you think, Andy?
Well, these cars are running, they're getting strung out, so you can almost have that feel that it's going to go green almost the rest of the way. And if it does, you're not going to beat the 18 and 33 in a conventional manner. I mean, they're out here, they've got everybody covered. The only way to do this is maybe pull a strategy move, and when these tires are dropping off this far, this much, is this last stop. These guys still have to make one more stop. And if some of the cars running on the lead lap can make that stop early, they can short pit, we call it. They can gain a lot of time and get back up there. We see Brad Keselowski now getting up into the wall. He says he thinks he's got a flat tire. But there are some opportunities out there for some guys to pull some strategy. Now you got Kevin Harvick, cream rising to the top.
It just takes his car a little bit of time to come in with the tires, with the setup that they've got, and he's just been methodical in cutting this lead 10th, 1500ths every single lap, and he knew that he had the better race car. He was just waiting, let Kyle Busch get out there and feel pretty good about himself for a little while.
Yeah, and as fast as those cars are, right now, Andy, it looks like even our best cars are still 5 laps short, and as fast as those guys are, your only chance is to short pit, like you were saying, to gain that time. But when you do that, you put yourself in danger. If a caution comes out, you're going to be a lap down. But again, with 5 cars on the lead lap or 6 cars on the lead lap, you're not going to lose that much.
It's not a huge, but I'm not sure there's anything that any strategy you can really do that's going to help you to try to get those guys.
Yeah, they've already pulled 7 seconds on the 3rd place car, so there you go.
So it's like the 18's lost a good bit of speed there. 33's just driven away from him.
Yeah, it looks like he's flipped a switch all of a sudden. The 33 is just taken off, and the last time by, he was a half a second faster than Kyle Busch. And either Kyle's having a lot of problems or that 33 just got hooked up again, and I got to believe that's what it is. Shannon, what's going on with that 60 car?
Well, of course, we've documented Carl Edwards' broken foot all race long. Let's check in with his crew chief, see how he's doing. How is Carl out there in the car? Has he said anything about that foot?
Hasn't said anything about the foot. Car needs to be run a little better. I think that would make him a little happier, but it's kind of a rough night tonight, so we'll see what happens.
How close are you guys on fuel right now to the end of the race?
We plan on going all the way from here.
All right, you heard it, Carl Edwards. They plan on going very end, guys.
They're planning on stretching this tank of fuel. It'll be about 70 laps since they last pitted. That's going to stretch it on out there. But if anybody can do it, Carl Edwards has proven that he can get out here and make better mileage than just about any other driver.
Well, we watched Jack Roush work those guys last year at Homestead, the last race. They kept slowing Carl up a little bit. They know how much, because they've been on the engine dynos, all kind of stuff, figuring how many RPMs they need to turn this engine to get better gas mileage. And we all know that, man, Roush has been good.
Yeah, there's a big interval now between the 33 and the 18. I wonder if the 18 has slowed down a little bit to see if he can make it. Dave, have you got something for us on that?
Well, Ray, that may be part of the strategy, but the biggest thing for Kyle on lap 147, he got passed for the lead. On 148, he radioed in tight loose. That is when the car, just as Rusty said, flipped the switch. It went from a tight condition at the beginning of the run, which allowed him to race really hard, to a loose condition. Crew chief Jason Ratcliffe said, you've been doing that all night, about 20 laps in, the switch is thrown and the car goes loose. So they need to, if they come back down pit road, they'll have to tighten it up. But so far, they have not talked of saving any fuel.
Well, that's about the only way that anybody's going to, or Kyle Busch is maybe have a chance. We see the 38 coming in here short pitting. You see he's been into the wall
got some damage too, so he may be in because of that.
But Kyle Busch's only hope is that this goes on until about 20 laps to go or less than that, and we have a caution, and he's able to get his car. He can go for about 15, 20 laps and beat Kevin Harvick, but that's his only chance.
Well, Dale, the thing I'm wondering about right now, I've been looking at this fuel mileage, and I mean, what do you think, Andy? About 58? We talked 55 to 60 laps.
60 laps is doable, and that's under normal conditions. You know, these guys can actually stretch that quite a bit.
Okay,
if you back off quite, 3 or 4 tenths a second a lap.
So that puts them in at lap 185. And they
still got to go to 195 to make it to the end.
Yeah, so that puts them in about 10 laps early.
Yeah, and you see how much they're dropping off. This is 8 miles an hour drop off almost on the tires, and that does save fuel. The more you slow down, the better your fuel mileage gets, so you can go a lot longer. I don't know how the 33's doing, Jamie, but he's sure got a fast race car.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's staying really patient, too. He knows what he has in Kyle Busch, and he said it on the radio. 10, 15 laps, he is blistering fast, but he knows that if he just waits it out, he'll get past that 18, and that's what he did. Now, he's talking to his crew chief. They're trying to figure out what exactly to do on strategy. Right now, they are 11 laps short.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking, about 10 or 11 laps short. That's why I was kind of a surprise to hear Carl Edwards planning on making this on the tank of fuel that he has. That's a pretty good amount of laps.
He didn't say he was planning on making it. He said they weren't stopping.
Yeah. Well, see, that makes total sense, though, from what we can calculate. In about 10 laps, so he's on there. The only thing that's screwed us up is what Carl Edwards said about not stopping, but it makes sense.
Well, he pitted just a little bit later. He lost a lot of time with them other guys on tires, but I still figured, like I said, our best cars were 5 laps short. So we'll have to wait and see. It's coming down to the end, and we'll find out if he can do it or not.
.35 laps to go in the Degree V12 300 at Atlanta. There's your leader, Kevin Harvick, who's been out front now for 126 of the 160 laps we've completed. But how many times do we see the guy with the dominant car not win? And we've got a little strategy session shaping up at the end of this one. By the way, Brad Keselowski, a few minutes ago, we heard him on the radio talking about suspecting he possibly had a flat tire. He has not pitted, and he's still on the lead lap in 6th position. On pit road now, Reed Sorensen, who took the wave around and stayed out hoping for a strategy break. And the one car will rejoin the race, no longer on the lead lap, at least 1 lap down, most likely at least 2. So let's talk about that strategy and some ways that things might play into Kevin Harvick's factor, some ways that things might play into Kyle Busch's favor. Here's what the 18 team was saying on the radio.
Did our fuel mileage numbers get any better in that last run with the long run? They did. They got better, which equaled up to about a lap and a half. But right now we're looking at, around 10 laps short.
So 10 laps short is what the championship leaders team is saying for Kyle Busch. And as he runs in second, he's 3 seconds behind Kevin Harvick. Our NASCAR champions in the booth, Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace, Andy Petrie and Ray Evernham. It looks like, with the exception of Carl Edwards' team, everybody's talking about having to come in for a little bit more fuel before the end of this.
I'm surprised that Carl Edwards' team can even think about making it that far, but it's obvious that these two leaders are not going to be able to make it to the end without fuel, so that does make it a strategy call here when to make this pit stop, because it's really a 2-car race. We've looked at some other scenarios, but the third place car is at 11 seconds back now, so it really kind of takes them out of this. But when these guys make this last pit stop, it's going to make a big difference on when they do it.
Andy, the thing I'm wondering right now, I mean, Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch in a points battle. Carl's a lap down right now. Can he afford to start slowing this car down and saving fuel and make it to the end? If he does that, he's going to gain a lot of points on Busch.
Well, maybe, but I'm not so sure that he can actually beat Kyle Busch. I think Kyle could get in and get some fuel and get back out, possibly in front of him, because they're beating him so bad and they're already a lap down.
I think if Carl's got to slow down that much, he's going to go down that second lap, and Kyle's going to be able to pit and get out. Right now, I just, again, don't see anybody making it. But the question I have, if it's going to come down to that, is somebody, one of those guys going to try and just put on 2 tires because they're only going to have 8 laps to go?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Are they going to put tires on, or will the tires withstand that? Jamie, what are they saying?
Well, let's ask Ernie Cuffey's crew chief for Kevin Harvick. So, Ernie, I heard you tell your driver 11 laps short. What do you do? When do you pit?
We'll probably stop, put 2 right side tires on, and probably as much gas we get in during 2 tires.
And when do you come?
What's that? I'm sorry.
When do you come?
Probably 12 laps before the end.
12 laps before the end. That is what they're saying up here. Dave, what are they saying in the 18 pit?
We'll ask Jason Ratcliffe. You've talked about being 10 laps short, so
see if we can beat him that way.
How about that? In Atlanta, maybe 2 tires. Rusty, would you like that?
I like 4 tires better. If they're going to give me 2 to win the race, I'm going for that, buddy. That's for sure.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to take 4 tires, you need to go ahead and stop a little sooner than 12 laps to go. That way you can take advantage of those 4 tires for a lot longer period of time.
Yeah, if somebody tells Kyle Busch's crew chief right there what Ernie Coach just said, then he might think about coming in a little earlier and getting his 4 tires and making up. That's the only chance he's got. Because if he puts 2 on, he's not going to beat him.
Right. Well, 10 laps of fuel, it's only a couple seconds of fuel, so there is no sense if you're going to wait that long to put on 4 tires. Now, what about Dale Jr., our 3rd place car?
Well, he's sitting there. He's keeping fairly good pace, but he's still 12 seconds behind the leaders, and not much he can do to try to make up that much ground. If he could, I mean, the only way he could really do it is if he could possibly make it on his tank of fuel.
Yeah, and you look at his lap times. It's not like he's been backed off 3/4 of a second or a second. He's still right there around the same lap times as Harvick's running. So don't really see that he's been able to do that so
Guys,
far.
the thing I'm still thinking about, these guys all say they got to stop with 10 laps to go. Carl Edwards guy says, I'm going to go to the end. They're usually pretty good. I'm going to stay looking at Edwards here. I still believe that these guys can make fuel mileage, especially Edwards, because I've seen it in the past. He might not, but he said he can.
You see, they're getting down to decision time here. Their fuel tanks are running low. Won't be long before they'll be making this decision. Dave?
With Brian Campy now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was told he was only 5 laps short. Has he saved you some? Are you going to keep him out or are you going to pit?
I think we're going to have to pit. I think everybody's going to have to pit. So we'll just see how it plays out. Maybe we'll get a little late race caution. But the Degree Chevrolet's been good all day. We got a little bit snug right there. So we pit again. We'll get him freed up. We'll be good.
This is Atlanta. Would you dare give him only 2 to pick up time?
I could do something like that. We'll just see what happens.
Junior's actually got a pretty good buffer between himself and the 4th place car, Brad Keselowski, or Jeff Burton now, and that's about 10 seconds back to that. So there's a lot of things that he could do, but if I were him, I might take a chance to come in a lot earlier and get me 4.
20 laps to go tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for Kevin Harvick in that 33 car. He's led 141 of 175 laps so far, but the most important one still out ahead of him, and another pit stop still ahead. Harvick, though, with a 6.8 second lead on 2nd place Kyle Busch, as we turn it over to our backseat drivers, champions Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Andy Petrie, and Ray Evernham.
You can see Kevin Harvick there still glued to the bottom of the racetrack. He hasn't varied from that pretty much any time here. He stretched that lead out, as Alan said, to almost 7 seconds over Kyle Busch now. And it looks like it's just his race to lose here, guys. I mean, barring a late race caution here, which is the only time that Kyle Busch has been able to beat him out of the pits and keep the lead for a little while.
Look, how many times have you said as a driver, you had a big lead, what's going to screw up now?
Yeah.
I mean, am I going to have a flat tire, a bad pit stop? Am I going to get a penalty for coming down pit road too quick? I mean, the run that Harvick's been having is just amazing. He's got a 7.5 second lead right now.
Hey, you hear that's Harvick. Sounded like he's ready to pit.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to take any chance with these tires or anything like that. I mean, they have gone a full fuel stop on the tires. But he knows how good a car he has, and he just doesn't want to mess this thing up.
Well, this is a good strategy to come down and get some fresh tires and keep on going as long as you don't have a caution flag that comes out. If that happens, this strategy is really going to get Kevin in trouble for pitting too early.
And as you get further into this fuel run, the chance of somebody having a tire problem is more likely. The other thing is guys coming to pit road hot. I have seen guys trying to get the pit road spin and bring out a caution.
Well, I think he's going to be extremely careful. I mean, I'm sure that Ernie Cope's telling him he knows how big a lead he has. So, and I think that he kind of forces the other guy's hands a little bit if he comes to pit road. It's going to make them.
Nobody can afford to stay out if he pits because, well, heck, he's got him covered anyway. I was going to say he's going to drive away from him.
That car's been so good he hadn't had to worry about traffic because nobody else has been able to run down there where Kevin has all night long.
No, and he's got a big enough cushion to where he can really take his time getting to pit road and not have to worry about having a problem speeding. There's some discussion, time pit stop. Is that what they're talking about, maybe?
They're talking about right now how much fuel to put in the car when they make this stop and what they're going to do, whether they're going to get 2 or 4, and the key off which one they're going to do, whether it's tires or fuel.
Yeah, Andy, one thing that we've heard a 33 car, Kevin Harvick hollering pit, but he's still staying on the racetrack. So Kevin might have overrode him and said, I'm not coming down pit road.
Well, he said they had to make that stop with about 12 to go. We're at 16 to go this time by, so We'll see what happens with this 33. They can run a few more laps.
Well, this 18 or 33 is going to have to show their hand pretty soon about who's going to do what. And I'll guarantee you, if the 18 hit pit road, that 33 is going to be right behind them, or vice versa. Jamie.
Well, Rusty Ernie Cope gave Kevin Harvick the option and said, all right, this is what the 18 is doing. Kevin Harvick said, okay, I will pit as soon as I can. And that was about 2 laps ago. You saw Ernie Cope on the right side say pit now. So watch for the 33.
Yeah, the problem I got, Jamie, he said pit now about 3 laps ago, and he's still out there. So maybe Kevin Harvick's playing crew chief inside the car, and every time I've done that, it's never worked for me.
Now, that's a 6th place car right in front of Kevin Harvick there, Brad Keselowski.
Looks like the 18 car is coming this
Kevin,
lap.
next time by, 2 tires and gas, 2 tires and gas.
He's right here. He's getting woed down. He doesn't want to speed.
Kevin's got to get down pit road right now if he's going to maintain his lead, because these new tires are really going to make these cars run quicker.
Yeah, we're going to see Kyle Busch's team now just show their hand what they're going to do, whether they're going to get 2 or 4. Got to make it all the way down here to the pit stall, and they're in. Dave?
It's going to be 4, Andy. They're going to put 4 tires on here, air pressure adjustment, and he's going to get fuel to go till the end. Hearing the 33 of Kevin Harvick is on pit road as well, but 4 is the choice for the 18 car. They've done quick work all night. Let's see if they build some time here. Jamie?
And Kevin Harvick made the call. He wants 4 tires as well. Remember, they've been slower than the 18 team on the right side. Let's see if they can pick it up and clear it up for a couple of seconds to make ground on that 18. Problems again, they were a little slow. Now they're trying. The car dropped off the jack. They had to rejack it, put the left sides on. Oh boy, guys, this could have just cost the 33 the win here.
He may be able to hold the lead. He had just about enough lead to make up for that little hiccup there, a big hiccup on that pit stop.
Yeah, he had about 7-second lead on him.
Here he comes.
So, I mean, that's about how much they screwed up in pit road.
This is the 18 car now coming by the start-finish line. Can Kevin Harvick get out in front of Kyle Busch? This is going to be the race for the lead.
Yeah, Harvick's getting his speed up off of turn 2 right now. Still down on the apron, just coming up onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, he's in good shape, guys. Harvick's got his speed up right now over Busch. Believe he's going to hold him off. Take a look at that.
But Kyle Busch has been a good bit faster on these fresh tires. So
he may be able to run this 33 car down in striking distance here.
Yeah, catch him and pass him is a different story, though. Harvick wants to win this race bad.
Of course, yeah, they're not the leaders right now. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is now the leader of the race. Brad Keselowski in second.
Yeah, we get caught up in this being the race. This is going to be the race for the win after the other cars pit. But right now it is the 5 and the 88 up front with the 33 car in 3rd spot.
Yeah, my question is, you guys, why stay out, though? These guys got fresh tires. You know you can't make it on fuel. Don't you think you got to get this baby down pit road right now and not lose time?
He's backed off a lot, and he's making a shorter racetrack out of this, even on the straightaway. Been watching Junior here. Dave?
Now remember, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won a race at Michigan saving fuel. He did real well earlier this year, finished 3rd there saving fuel. They asked him to save fuel like you were running Michigan. Who knows? Maybe they keep him out.
Might be giving it a shot, Dave.
He's running 35-second laps. He's slowed up almost a half a second right now. Listen to the throttle. Let's just listen to this motor for a second. Let's listen to this getting in turn 1. Way out early.
Way out early.
Here's the problem. If he keeps running that slow, Kevin Harvick's going to catch him.
Well,
he's got 10 laps to catch him, and he's beating him about a second a lap. And it's about 10-second difference.
You're trying to mess up Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s plan, aren't you? Now?
Well, it may not work.
But
I mean, he might not be quick enough.
Junior's
Yeah,
got
give it
nothing
a
to
shot.
lose. Why not? Why not go for it? He's not. I mean, if he runs out of gas on the last lap or 2 to go, what's he going to finish? 6th?
Yeah, Harvick is 13 seconds back here with 10 laps to go.
Okay, Junior fans, sit up in your seat. This guy might make it.
He might pull it off.
And Brad Keselowski may be doing the same thing, but he's just under 8 seconds back.
It's about 2 seconds a lap difference between Harvick and Junior right now. If they can maintain that pace, it's going to be close at the end if the 5 car can make it to the finish.
Yeah, and Harvick is only a second ahead of Kyle Busch, who is gaining on him as Harvick tries to negotiate this traffic right here.
Oh, look at this. 3 wide. Harvick's on the bottom underneath Casey Kane.
Harvick's like, get out of my way. I'm on a man on a mission, baby. I got to go.
Yeah, he's thinking he's racing the 18 here because he sees him coming in his mirror. That's who he thinks he has to get by these guys for. See Casey Kane sliding his car right up to Greg Biffle coming out of turn 4. Here comes Kyle Busch right behind them.
Okay, 2 seconds a lap difference. Junior ran a 35.12. Harvick ran a 33.14 last lap. So That gap is shrinking.
2 seconds a lap faster.
Yeah, and it's 8 laps to go, and there's a 9-second gap between Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Let's don't forget about Keselowski. He's still out there in second.
They're going to be up to Keselowski here in just a second. You can see him just exiting turn 4 up there. There he is. He's at the start-finish line. Kevin Harvick is just behind him.
You see Harvick just now clearing the lap cars. Now he can see the 88 car. That's second spot.
And 4, pick it up.
His spotter telling him, pick it up. Let's go. 7 laps to go. Oh, that was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s spotter actually telling Jr. to pick it up just a little bit, because if he's going to beat Harvick, he's going to have to pick that pace up some.
Oh, yeah, Harvick, at this pace, he's going to catch him. He's only a little over 6 seconds behind him right now.
So you're yelling, pick it up, save me fuel. Pick it up,
yeah, what do you do? Yeah, make up your mind. How about it?
All right, this Harvick moving up in the second position now. He's got a bullseye in the back of that 5 car right now, and he's running out of time quick to pass him.
He got the sparks flying, the thing bottoming out. He's legging this thing as hard as he can.
And Junior's saying, I hope you packed this fuel cell full of gas the last time by, because, baby, I need every drop I can get.
Well, he picked up almost a second. Junior did last lap. Now, that's going to hurt his fuel mileage a little bit, but it might stretch this gap just enough to be able to make this next 5 laps. 5 to go.
There's no sense in taking the gamble to finish second or third, so now you got to worry about keeping the lead.
So as crew chief Brian Campy said, we're going to have to pit with 5 laps to go, so they're saving fuel a little bit. What's this bring it down to, Andy? About a couple laps to go before it runs out?
Well, he's already made it now farther than they said they could make it, that they thought they could. So we know Junior stretched it out for him. He's gotten him some more mileage. Has he got him enough? Is he going to be able to make it? It's going to be close. I'll tell you, this is going to be a tough run for this 5 car to make it to the end.
And to save 5 laps of fuel here is tough, because you've got so much on throttle time. You don't have a lot of straightaway to really let off, to back it up. You know, the corners are so big.
Oh, man, his fuel window, he doesn't show any fuel.
He's running on fumes.
That shows our calculations are not as good as what he's getting for fuel mileage.
Yeah, about 1 2 2 that Harvick knocked off of that lead last time. He's 2.6 seconds back now. 4 laps to go.
I'll tell you what, guys.
It's going to be close, guys.
This would be a good morale booster for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Grab the pole in his own car. If he wins the race in his own car, we all know he struggled this year. I mean, if you win a race anywhere, it gives you a big mental boost, and it's got to be good for Junior. I know he's nervous right now.
3 to go.
But, boy, if he wins this thing, it's going to be big for this team. Mentally.
Well, he was supposed to be out of fuel 2 laps ago, so he's
made it to 3 to go. That's
and
there comes Harvick.
And, boy, I tell you what, Harvick can catch him in 3 laps. It's going to be a drag race right to the end.
I think if Junior runs as hard as he possibly can, it's going to be almost impossible to hold off Harvick. Just from a tire situation.
What?
Yeah, and he's going to get passed by a car. He's not going to be able to get to the bottom, his preferred line, that Joey Logano is going to go by.
Okay, 2 to go.
He's got to stand on it.
Okay, what do you do now?
He's just a sitting duck. Harvick's got to go underneath of him. Whoa.
Okay, here goes Harvick for the lead, and here comes Kyle Busch. And this is putting Junior back to 3rd. This is back to where he would have been anyway if he had pitted. So. But he tried it.
See, Harvick's having a little problems here with Joey Logano.
Oh, got a teammate there between him and...
this is
Kyle Busch sliding that baby off of turn 4.
White flag for Kevin Harvick. We saw the race last week in Montreal, won on the last corner of the last lap. It looks like Kevin Harvick has this one well in hand now on the back straightaway.
And look at there, Carl Edwards still out there on the field. They said they were going to the end.
Yeah, but he's going to make it. Yeah, he's going to make it. And so is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Junior's going to make it to the finish line.
Carl's in the 6th spot.
But Kevin Harvick is going to come off turn 4, dominate this race tonight, and get the win at Atlanta for Kevin Harvick.
And he deserved it, boy. He whipped them all night long. He won this thing fair and square. His pit crew didn't help him any. They got to do a little work when he gets home, but boy, what a great win.
Yeah, it's good to have a car as dominant as this 33 was when you have a hiccup in the pits on that last stop. That's the only thing that saved him, was a great race car.
You can see Earnhardt Jr. came home 3rd, Brad Keselowski 4th. He stretched his fuel mileage. Jeff Burton 5th. Joey Logano passed Carl Edwards there for the 6th spot.
See Delaney Harvick right
there? That's the real owner.
That's right
there.
That's
Delaney Harvick.
They're happy. I mean, boy, I tell you what, this is their own team. They really got it done.
Boy, and they did it in fine fashion. I mean, they absolutely dominated this race.
It's been a while since we've seen a car that dominant, even with those cautions, to put everybody but the top 5 a lap down. Jamie, have you got the crew chief of that car?
Yes, Ernie Cope. This is the second time Kevin has ever been able to win in his own car. That last pit stop, you guys had some trouble. What was the feeling like at that moment?
When they had trouble in that right rear, couldn't get it off, that was just sickening. But they gained 5 seconds on us on the pit stop. But he did a great job, hammered down. Didn't complain about it. He just got up on the wheel and took care of it.
You've been here at night before with the truck series, with this truck team. How much did that help you guys get this setup where you guys were untouchable?
It helped us. We knew what was going to, we had a pretty good idea what was going to happen from day to night. And we just went with what we thought was going to, how it was going to play out, and it worked out good.
Congratulations, Ernie. We'll see you in victory lane. Alan?
Okay, Jamie, thanks. So Kevin Harvick leads 150 of 195 laps. Needs a little helping hand to make the victory lap and get the checkered flag. But Kevin Harvick, he's won here in a Cup car before. He had never won in Atlanta in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He's done it tonight, his second win of 2009. We'll talk to Harvick in victory lane and follow up on some of the other post-race stories when we come back to Atlanta.
NASCAR Nationwide Series Degree V12 300 at Atlanta Motor Speedway is brought to you by New Degree Men V12 Special Edition and Verizon Wireless. Get the inside track from Penske Racing, race analysis from our drivers, plus highlights and more on VCast.
Long, tough night here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for these drivers running 300 miles on this fast track. Perhaps none tougher than for Carl Edwards with the broken right foot, trying to work the throttle, work the brakes. Carl out of his machine after stretching the fuel to a 7th place run, and got to sit down with that broken foot to take off the fireproof boots on the bottom of the shoes. For Carl, he did lose a little ground to Kyle Busch in the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship standings. The gain now 221, the gap between Kyle and Carl, with Brad Keselowski also losing just a small bit of ground tonight. He's now 292 back in 3rd place with 9 races to go. Shannon, how's Carl Edwards feeling?
Well, 2 subjects we want to talk about with Carl Edwards. Number 1, 70 laps on fuel. How'd you do it? Come on, secret.
That's a sore right foot. You won't push the pedal very hard, so that's good for fuel mileage. My Save-A-Lot guys did a great job on pit road. They saved me a little bit tonight, and 7th is not what we came here to do, but considering everything, that was a pretty good run. The strategy was great at the end.
Carl, anything about your foot that you learned tonight in this race that you can apply for tomorrow night's Cup race?
That's not the weakest link. So my guys at University of Missouri and the doctors have done a great job, and I just appreciate everybody working so hard on it. Seems like it's going to be good. So if this is as bad as it gets, it'll be fine in the race car. So I'm pretty happy with that.
All right, Carl Edwards, a good finish for Carl Edwards.
Go ahead.
Went limping on his foot out here on pit road. Jamie?
Kevin Harvick has been victorious in this victory lane. His first Cup win came here back in 2001. He's been here as a Truck Series owner, but the first time in the Nationwide Series. Kevin, you had a rocket tonight. It seemed untouchable. How did you guys get it so good?
Well, first off, I want to thank Jimmy John's. Jimmy, we got it, buddy. Jeff Wampler, all those guys from Jimmy John's, all these people that come to the track every week. Chevrolet was awesome tonight, and Kyle was a little bit better on the short runs there. But after about 8 or 10 laps, this thing was just flat out awesome. Same way our truck was, same stuff underneath it. So just cut it a little bit closer than I would like to there at the end. But just want to thank Ream, Jimmy John's again. I got to thank VFW, Charter, Jegs, Pennzoil, and I'm sure Armor, Longhorn, everybody that helps us on this program. Should have had a few more wins before this, but nice to race the 18 head-to-head like that and have fun with him.
How about there at the end, the 5 cars trying to stretch that fuel? He did not pit. Did you have any idea how close he was?
I really thought that everybody had to pit, so just a great night for the fans to come out and watch a race. And Dale Jr. on strategy, and Kyle good at the short of the runs, us good after about 10 laps. So he had all kinds of that good Atlanta racing tonight.
Kevin, back in 2001, very emotional. You were out of the box. You came here and won your first Cup race. It's been a long time. What's it like to be back here?
Well, it's been a great year with this Nationwide car, and to win my first Cup race here. I thought we had this race won last year and came up a little bit short, but this has just been a good racetrack for us, whether it's been Nationwide or trucks or Cup. It's just been a good place for us, and obviously it's always special for my first win.
All right, Kevin Harvick gets his second victory of the year in the Nationwide Series. Vince?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes 3rd, and with Brian Campy and Tony Uri Jr. on the box working the fuel mileage numbers. What's going through your mind when you knew Harvick was coming with the fresh tires and more fuel, and you're trying to hold him off?
Well, I didn't know where he was, but
you know, I didn't know how far behind he was, so we just tried to save what we could, and we knew we could probably make it, so we just didn't pit trying to take a chance. And I just want to thank Degree and all our other partners. I was glad to run well for Degree in the Degree race today, so I'm pretty happy about that. Tony Jr. was on the box as a leaning post for Brian Campy all day, and that seemed to help things and help Campy a lot. And I got a lot of faith in this team, and they give us a little shot in the arm running good. This is the best run I've had in a while in this series, and I was pretty excited today that the 18 and the 33 this had everybody covered, obviously, and we were in a league of our own, but they were on out there in front of us. We run pretty good, so I'm real happy.
Was indeed a good night for Dale Jr. Third tonight, Dave.
And Kyle Busch finished just ahead of him in the second position. Getting cooled off now. You wished at one point tonight that your car was just faster. It was okay, you just wished it was faster. Did the 33 just gain so much on you here? Were you guys off tonight?
I'm not sure. You know, we were really on last year here, but man, tonight the NOS Energy Drink Camry was good. I mean, it was really good, but Harvick was gone. You know, I mean, it was just what a non-race that was, but hopefully it was a show there at the end. You know, we were running down Junior trying to get past him, and he gave us both room, and then I could run the 33 down or beat the 33 for 15 to 18 laps, but after that I just didn't have anything for him. Those guys were so good on the long run that he just had it over us, so we tried to short pit him. That only worked until they saw us come down pit road, and then they came the next lap, so it didn't quite work out great. But you know, I tell you, we just I don't think we really missed anything. I mean, we were ahead of third by a mile, but man, the 33 was just great, flawless. Go to drinknos.com if you want a chance to win a trip to Phoenix for later on in the year to help us celebrate hopefully our championship.
Hey, one last thing. You talked about one point in the race here, still under green, where you thought you could have gotten him, but you felt like you might have given it away. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, getting into three there, coming to the white, I was passing Junior, and I just got in there way too hard and slid up the track, and I didn't hook the bottom like I needed to, and lost 2 car lengths instead of gaining 2 car lengths. If I could have gained 2 car lengths down there, 2 down there, and 2 more down there, I would have been right on his bumper coming to the checker. So unfortunately, that I lost those 2 and could never gain anything back.
Strong drive for Kyle tonight, finishing second. Alan?
Can you believe the 9th time he's finished second this season to go with his 6 wins, 15 top 2 finishes for Kyle Busch in this 2009 season. Kevin Harvick celebrating in Victory Lane. Who's going to celebrate next week in Victory Lane? At the Richmond International Raceway, our ticket to the race, where the NASCAR Nationwide Series is going to be at for the remaining weeks of the 2009 campaign. The Monster Mile in Dover, the 1.5 miles in Kansas, the 2 mile out of Southern California, Charlotte, Memphis, Texas, Phoenix, and wrapping up the season and crowning a champion at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Join us at some of those upcoming races and see the NASCAR Nationwide Series in action. The family team for Kevin Harvick, putting an awesome race car underneath him tonight. He's in Victory Lane in Atlanta. Talk about some college football. A big Labor Day doubleheader coming up on ESPN. 4 Eastern, Big East back action. The Cincinnati Bearcats and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Then at 8 Eastern in prime time, a Sunshine State rivalry. Easy for me to say. The Miami Hurricanes and the Florida State Seminoles. I'm all excited to see that one. That's Monday night at 8 Eastern. College football presented by Cars.com and College Football Primetime on ESPN Monday. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And we've got more college football action coming up next here on ESPN2. At the top of the hour, Maryland and California from Berkeley, and that is coming up. Kyle Busch, he talked admiringly of Kevin Harvick's car's performance tonight. And just a moment ago, Kyle stopping into Victory Lane to congratulate Harvick and his team on their incredible performance tonight. Harvick leading 131 of the 195 laps tonight. Brad Keselowski stretched the fuel to 4th place tonight, Shannon.
15th top 5 finish for Brad Keselowski in this 88 team. You guys had a terrible car in practice today. How did that car change tonight in the race?
It was about the same. We just, you know, we worked really hard all night. The pit stops were phenomenal today. Got to really thank my pit crew for that. Green flag stop, we gained a bunch of time, and that was really cool. I'm really proud of them for that. And I'm happy for Dale with the Degree Chevrolet that he had. He really needed a strong showing, so that was pretty cool to see. I thought he was going to win at one time. Wish I would have held up the 33 and 18 just a touch more, but really happy for everyone on the Junior Motorsports team, and really happy to, again, to bring home a top 5 for Delphi, and that's really cool to keep plugging away. Kyle might have got a few points on us tonight, but he's still right there, and we're in striking distance. So I still feel like we're in good position here.
Well, it's the last time that Brad Keselowski will be racing against Dale Jr. in the Nationwide Series this season, but he'll have plenty of opportunities next year in the Cup Series. Vince?
Kasey Kahne finishes 11th tonight, but a little upset with himself. Take us through what happened on that pit lane speeding violation.
Yeah, I just I locked the front tires when I was still on the racetrack a little bit and just slid to onto pit road a little too quick. I haven't sped in a long time. I don't know what I was thinking there, but I think we definitely had a third-place car with our Frito's car, and I sped. Then we came back down and I sped again because I was all confused. And that one was just kind of a weird deal. And then we got some of the laps back. We fought hard. The team did a good job, and I blew it. But hopefully we run well tomorrow night and had a good time. We're just a little bit too loose to run with Harvick and Kyle. They were pretty good.
He doesn't make many mistakes. A good run, though, all in all, for Kasey Kahne tonight. He finishes 11th.
Vince Kahne starting on the outside of the front row for tomorrow night's 500-miler for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. 11th in points. One of the Bubble Boys in that race to the chase as the victory celebration continues tonight for Kevin Harvick. Don't forget that tomorrow night, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series takes on this Atlanta racetrack. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil at 7 Eastern over on ESPN. Big weekend in drag racing. The Mac Tools NHRA U.S. Nationals presented by Lucas Oil from Indianapolis. Qualifying tomorrow and the finals Monday. That on ESPN2. And we'll wrap around the Atlanta race with NASCAR Now. Pre-race edition presented by 5 Hour Energy. 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. And the post-race wrap-up at 11:30 Eastern tomorrow night. Both of those on ESPN2. So Kevin Harvick, the winner tonight in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and we bring in our backseat drivers, our 4 NASCAR champions up in the booth who called the race. Dale Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Andy Petrie, and Ray Evernham for their final thoughts. Rusty, you want to go first?
I tell you, it was just utter domination of Kevin Harvick tonight. That 33 car, I haven't seen a car run that strong in a long time. Guys, he lapped everybody all the way down to only 5 cars were lead lap. Dale, I just got to tell you, it was just an amazing run out of him.
Yeah, you just don't see that happen that much, especially when you have people like Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton in a race. You don't think of something like that happening. But, when you hit it at a place like Atlanta that's very difficult, then you can really kind of embarrass the rest of the field. And that's what Kevin Harvick and his team did here tonight.
It's been since 2006 since we've seen just 5 cars on the lead lap like tonight. But it still was a climatic finish. I mean, we had a lot of things going on at the end of the race. We had, Junior trying to make it on fuel and making it, but the faster cars being able to overtake him. You also saw Kyle Busch coming at the end. I mean, it really was a climatic finish for no more than 5 cars on the lead lap.
And we saw some great racing all night long. I mean, why we love to come here to Atlanta, bottom, top. And Dale Jr. tipped us off. He said the race was going to be one on the bottom, and man, that 33 car was on the bottom all night.
All right, gentlemen, so now let's turn our attention, as we always do in racing, quickly to the next race, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race tomorrow night, and get a thought from you. Looking forward to that one. DJ, how about you lead us?
Well, as good as Kyle Busch ran tonight and got that second-place finish, he would take one of those tomorrow night because he's trying to work his way into that top 12. We're going to see a great race here. The drivers love to race at this racetrack, so it should be a lot of fun to watch.
I saw some good things out of Carl Edwards tonight. We proved that he can run with that broken foot, guys. I was really concerned whether he could pull it off. He told us tonight, no issue.
It's going to be a lot of tension, though, tomorrow night. We're just 2 races before the cutoff and the chase. A lot of guys need good runs tomorrow night. And this night race in Atlanta, man, it's exciting.
And as competitive as the Sprint Cup Series has been with the new car, I don't think we're going to see a runaway like we saw tonight.
No. Right.
And, of course, that NASCAR race to the chase bubble setup. A lot of guys fighting for those top 12 spots. And you look at the standings from 7th to 16th and see only 84 points ahead of 13th is Ryan Newman in 7th. And Brian Vickers in 14th, only 39 points off the cut. Clint Boyer only a $112 out. And those drivers kind of scattered throughout the top 30 in the starting field. So that's tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, taking the green here under the lights in Atlanta. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil at 7 Eastern time tomorrow night. And that is, again, from here in Atlanta. We look forward to bringing that one to you on ESPN. College football, top of the hour, Maryland and Cal from Berkeley, ESPN2's College Football Primetime. And coming up next, we're going to go to the studio for more college football action. They'll get you caught up on all the action from this Saturday thus far and set that game up for you between Maryland and Cal at the top of the hour. So tonight here in Atlanta, it was pretty much a race-long duel between 2 of the sport's best, Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. Yeah, there were a few bumps, bangs, and spins along the way. For the most part, though, a very clean Atlanta race. No major crashes In the end, Kevin Harvick's team had the right strategy and certainly had a speedy race car, and Harvick picked up his second win of the 2009 season, overcoming Dale Jr.'s late fuel strategy try. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Talk to you tomorrow from Atlanta. Now to the college football studio.